The Moonstone by Wilkie Collins. Dramatised by Doug Lucie. Episode 1.
Cousin! Please address me by my rank, Lieutenant.
I'm sorry. Captain Herncastle, I have our orders for tomorrow.
And they are?
When the town has been taken, we're to deploy to prevent any plunder and confusion following our victory.
Plunder?
Yes, sir.
Khan! Khan, sir!
Yes, sir.
Tell the Lieutenant what you were telling me earlier about the gem.
The Moonstone, sir?
That's the one.
It is very old, very sacred. It is a stone which shines even in the darkness.
But what is it?
It is a holy relic, stolen from our sacred temple by the Muslim invaders long ago. It was protected by 3 guardian priests who followed and watched it in disguise, waiting the day when Vishnu the Preserver should restore to them their sacred gem. It now rests across the river in Seringapatam, set in the handle of a dagger among the choicest treasures in Sultan Tipu's armory.
And tomorrow we take Seringapatam, and I swear you will see the diamond in my hand when the day is done. I assure you, I'm in deadly earnest.
It's merely a fable.
We'll see.
Whoever holds the Moonstone will be cursed, and the guardian priests will be watching.
Dismiss, Khan.
Sir.
Superstitious savage.
Captain, our orders are specific.
Specific? In the heat of battle, with slaughter all around, orders will count for very little tomorrow, Lieutenant. You may take my word for that. Guardian priests.
You men! Leave those things where they are! Everything in this room is the property of the Crown! Do you hear me? Where is your captain? He's in there! Go! Cousin!
Cousin!
Clear the room. Let's set a guard on the door.
I have it. Look, I have the diamond.
The Moonstone will have its vengeance yet on you and yours!
How did this man and these 2 others meet their deaths?
They met their deaths, as I suppose, by a mortal wound.
Is that all you have to tell me?
That is all.
I have no proof that you killed these 3 men, for I cannot say that my own eyes saw the deed committed. But it is my conviction that crime brings its own fatality with it. I am not only persuaded of your guilt, I even believe that you will live to regret it if you keep the diamond, and that others will regret taking it from you if you give it away.
I care nothing for the beliefs of any man, sir. So enough. I have here in my hand my heart's desire. You are dismissed, Lieutenant.
The diamond. Well, that takes us to Mr. Franklin Blake, who was the innocent means of bringing that unlucky jewel into this house. This house being that of my Lady Verinder, sister to the late John Herncastle. Mr. Franklin being the son of my lady's oldest sister. He was recently returned to England from many years abroad, and I've not seen him since he were a boy. And he was the nicest boy that ever spun a top or broke a window. Now, back then, I was Gabriel Betteridge, farm bailiff. Now I am Gabriel Betteridge, house steward, in the service of Lady Julia Verinder and her daughter Rachel. There, and that's all the wind has done. So, the diamond. Well, that Thursday was as fine a summer's day as ever you saw. And my lady and Miss Rachel, not expecting Mr. Franklin till dinner time, drove out to lunch. I was where I am now, approaching the main front doors, when I heard soft drumming and strange music from the terrace in front of my lady's residence. There stood 3 mahogany-coloured Indians in white linen frocks and trousers, playing a drum and other whatnots, while behind them stood a little delicate-looking English boy carrying a bag. Now, what's all this, may I ask?
Most respectfully, good sir, I present to you our group of Indian conjurers. We request most politely permission to perform in the presence of the lady of the house.
Do you?
Most respectfully, sir.
Well, respectfully or no, I have to inform you that the lady of the house is out. And I must ask you to leave these premises, gentlemen.
Of course, sir. As you wish.
I took up my beehive chair and set myself down on the sunny side of the terrace and fell not exactly into a sleep, but into the next best thing to it. I was roused up by my daughter Penelope running out at me as if the house were on fire.
Father! Father!
What is it, my dear? What's got you so flushed?
Did you see 3 Indian men and a boy?
Yes, I did. And I sent them on their way.
Father, I say, have them arrested.
For what reason?
For this reason. Namely, that they knew who was coming from London to visit us, and that they meant some mischief to Mr. Franklin Blake.
Explain yourself.
As I was coming by the lodge, I saw the 3 men with the boy. So I stole along the inner side of the hedge and watched them. They first looked up the road, then down the road and made sure that they were alone. Then they all 3 faced about and stared hard in the direction of the house. Then they jabbered and disputed in their own language and looked at each other like men in doubt.
Boy, hold out your hand.
I don't like to.
Would you rather be sent back to London and left where we found you? Sleeping in a basket in the market, a hungry, ragged and forsaken little boy. Hold out your hand.
Very well.
The little chap unwillingly held out his hand, and upon that the Indian took a bottle from his bosom and poured out of it some black stuff like ink into the palm of the boy's hand. He then touched the boy's head and made signs over it in the air, then said,
Look, Dekho.
And the boy became quite still and stood like a statue, looking into the ink in the hollow of his hand.
So far, it seems to be juggling, accompanied by a foolish waste of ink.
See the English gentleman from foreign parts?
I see him.
Is it on the road to this house and on no other that the English gentleman will travel today?
It is.
Has the English gentleman got it about him?
Yes.
Will the English gentleman come here as he has promised to come at the close of day?
I can't tell.
Why not?
I'm tired. The mist rises in my head and puzzles me. I can see no more today.
And with that, the Indian made more signs on the boy's head, then blew on his forehead and so woke him up with a start. Then they walked off into town and I saw no more of them. What did the man mean by has the English gentleman got it about him? What does it mean?
We'll ask Mr. Franklin, my dear, if you can wait till Mr. Franklin comes.
Yes, I can. And we'll see whether he thinks it a laughing matter.
I was just stretching my legs when out bounced another woman on me. Nancy, the kitchen maid.
Excuse me, Mr. Betteridge.
What's up now, Nancy? What you turning your back on your dinner for?
Rosanna's late again and I'm sent to fetch her in. All the hard work falls on my shoulders in this house.
Where is Rosanna?
At the sands, of course. She had another of her fainting fits this morning and she has to go out and get a breath of fresh air. I have no patience with her.
Right, go back to your dinner, my girl. I have patience with her. I'll fetch her.
Thank you, sir.
Well, I took my stick and set off for the sands. Rosanna was the only new servant in our house. About 4 months earlier, my lady had been in London and had gone over a reformatory, intended to save forlorn women from drifting back into bad ways after they got released from prison. The matron, seeing my lady took an interest in the place, pointed out a girl to her and told her a most miserable story.
Rosanna Spearman was a thief, badly used by her family and friends. But I am of the opinion that the girl is 1 in 1,000, and that she only wants a chance to prove herself worthy of any Christian woman's interest in her.
Then Rosanna Spearman shall have her chance in my service.
And a week afterwards, Rosanna entered this establishment as our second housemaid. And not a soul was told the girl's story excepting Miss Rachel and me. Now, our house is high up on the Yorkshire coast, close by the sea. We have got beautiful walks all round us in every direction, but one. This one. It leads through a melancholy plantation of firs and brings you out between low cliffs on the loneliest and ugliest little bay on all our coast. The sandhills here run down to the sea and end in 2 spits of rock. Between the two lies the most horrible quicksand, which shivers and trembles in a manner most remarkable to see, and which has given to it the name of the Shivering Sand. And it's true, account for it as you may, that this was Rosanna Spearman's favourite walk. And there she is, all alone, looking out on the quicksand and the sea. Come, my dear, what's all this? Come and sit down and tell me what you've been crying about.
About the years that are gone, Mr. Veteran. My past life still comes back to me sometimes.
Your past life is all sponged out, my dear. Why can't you forget it, eh? Anyway, you're late for dinner, and I've come to fetch you in.
You, Mr. Veteran?
They told Nancy to fetch you. I thought you might like your scolding better, my dear, if it come from me.
You're very kind, sir. I don't want any dinner today. Let me bide a little longer here.
What makes you like to be here in this miserable place, Rosanna?
Something draws me to it. I try to keep away from it and I can't. Sometimes I think that my grave is waiting for me here.
Now, lass.
Don't scold me. There's a dear good man. And please not to tell my lady I'm discontented. I am not. My mind's unquiet sometimes, that's all.
And now here's unwholesome talk.
Look at the quicksand, Mr. Betteridge. Do you know what it looks like to me? It looks as if it had hundreds of suffocating people under it, all struggling to get to the surface, and all sinking lower and lower in the dreadful deeps. Throw a stone in, Mr. Betteridge, and let's see the sand suck it down.
Here is an empty stomach feeding on an unquiet mind. Oh, my dear girl.
Betteridge!
Here?
Where are you?
You see who it is, girl?
Betteridge!
Who is it?
Don't you recognise me, Betteridge? Well, I owe you 7 and 6pence. Now, do you know who I am?
Oh, bless it. Same as Mr. Franklin Blake.
And who is this?
Rosanna, why do you blush so?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Be sure to eat some dinner.
That's an odd girl. I wonder what she sees in me to surprise her.
Well, I suppose, sir, it's that varnish from foreign parts.
Oh, well.
You're all welcome back to the old place, Mr. Franklin. All the more welcome, sir, that you come some 4 hours before we expected you.
Well, I have a reason for coming before you expected me. I suspect, Betteridge, that I've been followed and watched in London for the last 3 or 4 days, and I travelled by the morning instead of the afternoon train because I wanted to give a certain dark-looking stranger the slip. Tell me about the 3 Indians you had at the house today. It's just possible that my stranger and your 3 jugglers may turn out to be pieces of the same puzzle.
How do you come to know about the jugglers?
Well, I saw Penelope at the house. She told me of the 3 questions she'd overheard, and one in particular struck me. Has the English gentleman got it about him? Well, I suspect that it means this. And this, Betteridge, means my Uncle Herncastle's famous diamond.
Good Lord, sir.
Yeah.
How do you come to be in charge of the wicked Colonel's diamond?
Well, the wicked Colonel's will has left his diamond as an 18th birthday present to my cousin Rachel. And my father, as the wicked Colonel's executor, has given it in charge to me to bring down here.
The Colonel's diamond left to Miss Rachel? And your father, the Colonel's executor? Well, Adelaide, any bet you like that your father wouldn't have touched the Colonel with a pair of tongs.
You were of his time, Betteridge. Can you tell me anything against the Colonel?
Well, he was, I honestly believe, one of the greatest blackguards that ever lived. He had to leave the Guards before he was 22, and so off he went to India to try a little active service. It was at the taking of Seringapatam. He came back with a character that closed the doors of all his family again him. My lady taking the lead and declaring that her brother should never enter any house of hers.
And what of his ownership of the diamond?
It was said in the family that he had got possession of his Indian jewel by means which, bold as he was, even he didn't dare acknowledge.
Did you ever meet him?
Well, I once, about 2 years ago, at my lady's house in London. It was the occasion of Miss Rachel's birthday, and there was a party in honour of it, as usual. I received a message to say that a gentleman wanted to see me. Going up into the hall, there I found the Colonel, wasted and worn and as wild and wicked as ever I expected.
Go up to my sister and say that I have called to wish my niece many happy returns of the day.
Sir? Ah, here comes my lady. You may tell her yourself.
Hello, Julia.
Betteridge, tell Colonel Herncastle that Miss Verinder is engaged, and that I decline to see him.
My lady and Miss Rachel regret that they are engaged, Colonel, and beg to be excused having the honour of seeing you.
Thank you, Betteridge. I shall remember my niece's birthday.
And we heard no more of him until his death 6 months ago. But how do you come to be involved, sir?
Well, I believe there is a plot concerning the jewel. After his death, when we came to have the stone appraised, we found that his instructions were, in the event of his murder, for the jewel to be sent to Amsterdam, where it would be cut up into 4 or 6 separate stones.
But why?
Well, he tells the enemies he dreads, kill me, and the diamond will be the diamond no longer. Its identity will be destroyed.
And who are these enemies he so dreads?
The Indians who originally owned the jewel. You see, it's a plot with some old Hindu superstition at the bottom of it. And the questions which we have to ask are, does the conspiracy against the Moonstone survive the Colonel's death? And did the Colonel know it when he left the birthday gift to his niece?
My lady and Miss Rachel?
Yeah.
Are they at the end of it all?
Well, upon my arrival, what is the first news that greets me? I find that 3 strolling Indians have been at the house, and that my arrival and something which I am expected to have about me are 2 special objects of investigation to them when they believe themselves to be alone. What do you think?
Oh, I think, sir, I should like to shower that diamond into the quicksand and settle the question that way.
If you have £20,000 in your pocket, say so, Betteridge, and in it goes.
Aye.
But I don't want to alarm my aunt without reason, and I don't want to leave her without what may be a needful warning.
Yeah.
What would you do, Betteridge?
Wait.
Well, how long?
Oh, this is the 25th of May.
Yeah?
The birthday is on the 21st of June. We've got close on 4 weeks before it. Well, let's just wait and see what happens in that time.
But what's to be done with the diamond?
Your father put it in the safekeeping of a bank in London, sir. You've put it in the safekeeping of the bank at Frizinghall.
Yes.
If I were you, sir, I'd ride straight away with it to Frizinghall before the ladies come back.
Oh, Betteridge, you're worth your weight in gold. Come along and saddle the best horse in the stables directly.
Daughter?
Father? What are you doing hovering there?
I've brought Mr. Franklin's brandy. How goes it?
Well, I have never known Miss Rachel so particular about the dressing of her hair as she was this evening. And I have never seen her look so bright and pretty as she did when she went down to meet Mr. Franklin.
How's Rosanna been this evening?
Oh, she returned to the house in a very unaccountable state of mind. She was turning all the colours of the rainbow. I surprised her, smiling and scribbling Mr. Franklin's name inside her workbox. Had she and he known anything of each other before today?
No, quite impossible. And I can speak to Mr. Franklin's astonishment as genuine when he saw how the girl stared at him.
Father, there's only one explanation of it. Rosanna has fallen in love with Mr. Franklin Blake at first sight.
What a ridiculous idea. She's a servant. And a most unattractive one at that.
I never knew you cruel before, Father.
Mr. Franklin's brandy and soda water, my lady.
Ah, Betteridge. Dependable as ever.
Miss Rachel seems to have put the diamond clean out of your head, sir.
Yeah. She's the most charming girl I've seen since I came back to England. Thank you, Betteridge.
Sir. Intending to return to my quarters, I happened to glance out of the window at the grounds, which were brightly illuminated by a full moon, and saw the shadow of a person thrown forward from behind some bushes. I slipped out of the house, but I heard lighter feet than mine, and more than one pair of them, as I thought, retreating in a hurry to the shrubbery, from where they could easily make their way over our fence into the road. Passing over the walk where I'd seen the shadows, I now noticed a little bright object lying on the clean gravel. It was a small bottle containing a thick, sweet-smelling liquor, as black as ink. Mr. Franklin, sir?
Yes. What is it, Betteridge?
See what I found in the shrubbery, sir. It's that bottle of black ink belonging to the jugglers.
So, they're foolish enough to believe in their own magic, eh?
Yeah, it would appear so, sir.
Which means that the Indians took it for granted that we should keep the diamond here, and brought their clairvoyant boy to show them the way to it.
Do you think they'll try again, sir?
Why, it depends. If the boy can see the diamond through the iron safe of the bank, we should be troubled with no more visits from the Indians for the present. If he can't, we shall have another chance of catching them in the shrubbery before many more nights have passed.
I waited pretty confidently for that latter chance, but strange to relate, it never came. And with no further intrusions by the Indians, the following month passed most pleasantly, with Miss Rachel and Mr. Franklin spending many happy hours in each other's company, which spurred my daughter Penelope on to much speculation.
And Miss Rachel Rachel and Mr. Franklin still at their painting?
They are, and I confess it is nice to see them taking so much pleasure in each other's society.
They're a pretty match, wouldn't you say?
Oh, aye.
Do you suppose they might put their heads together with other objects in view besides the ornamenting of Miss Rachel's bedroom door? Might there be a wedding in the house before the summer is over?
Oh, entirely possible, my dear. Though I doubt whether her bridegroom will be Mr. Franklin Blake.
Who then?
Oh, well, just say that my lady has this day sent an invitation to a gentleman in London to come and help to keep Miss Rachel's birthday. Now, this is the fortunate individual on whom I believe her heart to be privately set. Like Mr. Franklin, he is a cousin of hers also.
Not Mr. Ablewhite.
The same. Mr. Godfrey Ablewhite. A barrister by profession, a ladies' man by temperament, and a good Samaritan by choice. He is the most accomplished philanthropist England ever produced. He loves everybody, and everybody loves him. What chance has Mr. Franklin, what chance has anybody of average reputation and capacities against such a man as this? Now, what do you say to that?
Poppycock.
Good. June the 21st, the day of the birthday, was cloudy and unsettled at sunrise. After breakfast, we and the servants all began this happy anniversary, as usual, by offering our little presents to Miss Rachel.
Mr. Betteridge.
Mr. Franklin.
We must have a private conference concerning the Moonstone.
Oh, yes. Shall we go outside?
Now, it seems to me that nothing has happened to justify us in alarming my aunt on the subject of the jewel, and nothing can alter the legal obligation on me to put it in my cousin's possession. Do you agree?
You speak my mind precisely, sir.
Well, then I shall ride to Freising Hall after lunch and bring the diamond back.
Right. But Mr. Godfrey and his sisters are riding over from Freising Hall this afternoon. Well, they could, in all probability, keep you company on the way home again.
Perfect.
Betteridge, how are you, my dear old friend? Wearing well, I see.
Thank you, Mr. Godfrey. And I hope you found your father in good health?
Yes, much as usual.
And my two beautiful Miss Ablewhites, welcome.
Mr. Betteridge, hello.
Hello. Oh, where is Rachel? I have to see her.
We simply must.
She's indoors, miss. Please to enter and seek her out.
Oh, hide and seek.
Oh, I love
Shall we dawdle for the sake of our eardrums?
Oh, would you go on, sir? I need a word with Mr. Franklin.
Oh, very well.
Sir. Have you the diamond safe, sir?
Yes.
Oh. And have you seen anything of the Indians?
Not a glimpse. Where is Lady Julia?
Sit in the drawing room with Miss Rachel. Which hiding place, I fear, the Miss Ablewhites have just discovered.
Now, I must speak to Rachel.
Sir. I busied myself in the vicinity of the drawing room until an outbreak of screams from the Miss Ablewhites alerted me to the probability of the diamond having been produced. So I went in, on pretense of asking for instructions about the dinner.
Look, Gabriel!
Oh, Lord, bless us, miss, that is a diamond. It's as large as a plover's egg.
Look into the stone!
Ooh, as unfathomable as the heavens themselves.
And it still shines when I cup it in my hands. See?
Unfathomable.
Betteridge, will you come to my room shortly?
Of course, my lady. Oh, Miss Rachel, what a gem.
Carbon, Betteridge, make carbon, my good friend.
I have an army of waiters to marshal downstairs, sir. Please excuse me.
Dear old Betteridge, I have the truest regard for him.
He was embracing his sisters and ogling Miss Rachel while he honoured me with that testimony of affection. Something like a stock of love to draw on there. Mr. Franklin, slumped all this time morosely in a chair, was a perfect savage by comparison with him.
Gabriel, you know well my feelings towards my late brother John, do you not?
I do, my lady, and assure them.
Very well. I take the blackest view possible of the Colonel's motives in this matter of the diamond. I'm bent on getting the Moonstone out of my daughter's possession at the first opportunity.
I understand.
I want you to pay her special attention while she has the diamond about her person. Keep close by her, Gabriel, at all times, until the Moonstone is safely deposited again in the bank tomorrow.
I shall, my lady, and when I am of necessity called away to attend to house business, I shall instruct the footman to maintain a vigil by Miss Rachel's side.
Be sure he does mind. That will be all.
Thank you, my lady. Then it was time for me to smarten myself up for receiving the company. At which time my daughter Penelope presented herself, on pretence of brushing what little hair I have got left, and improving the tie of my white cravat.
Oh? News for you, Father. Miss Rachel has refused him.
Who's him?
The ladies' committee man, Father. A nasty, sly fellow. I hate him for trying to supplant Mr. Franklin.
Oh?
I saw him take her away alone into the rose garden. And I waited behind the holly to see how they came back. They'd gone out arm in arm, both laughing. They came back, walking separate, as grave could be, and looking straight away from each other. There's one woman in the world who can resist Mr. Godfrey Ablewhite at any rate. And if I was a lady, I should be another.
Oh, this'll keep, girl. Company's arriving. Come on. There is no need to worry you with a list of the guests. You'll meet none of them a second time, in my part of the story at any rate, with the exception of two.
Miss Rachel, did the diamond then come in this setting?
Mr. Candy, our local doctor.
No. Mr. Franklin has contrived with his neat fingers and a little bit of silver wire how to fix it as a brooch. Isn't it wonderful?
Truly it is.
The other guest was an eminent public character, being no other than the celebrated traveller in India, Mr. Murthwaite, who, at the risk of his life, had penetrated in disguise where no European had ever set foot before him.
If you ever go to India, Miss Verinder, don't take your uncle's birthday gift with you. I know a certain city, and a certain temple in that city, where, dressed as you are now, your life would not be worth 5 minutes' purchase.
Really? Oh, how exciting.
After inquiring of his neighbour, Mr. Franklin, just how he had contrived the Moonstone brooch, Mr. Candy inexplicably fell into a dispute with Mr. Franklin over the latter's recent lack of sleep.
See, your nerves are all out of order due to your recent resolution to give up your cigars, and you should go through a course of medicine immediately.
I've never had such arrogant nonsense. You play God, sir. You would make us all helpless infants, Doctor. Ailments that have
Gentlemen, I forbid this dispute to go on any further.
Apologies, Lady Verinder.
Yes, mine also.
Ladies, we may leave the gentlemen to their wine.
Excuse me.
Now what nefariousness was this? Here were the jugglers returning to us, with the return of the Moonstone to the house.
Oh, how exciting! Come, everyone, on the terrace.
Mr. Franklin got on one side of Miss Rachel, and I put myself behind her. If our suspicions were right, there she stood innocent of all knowledge of the truth, showing the Indians the diamond in the bosom of her dress.
Namaskar, Bhaiya.
Namaskar. But what was this? Mr. Murthwaite came quietly behind the jugglers and spoke to them on a sudden in the language of their own country. The chief Indian thereupon wheeled about again toward the gentlefolk.
My lady, I regret to inform you our exhibition is now finished, and we thank you for your kindness.
Footman, see these gentlemen off the premises.
Yes, sir, Mr. Bedford. All right, come on.
Must they be sent away, Mamma?
Yes, they must. Come along inside. The evening's turning colder.
I followed at a discreet distance to ensure that the Indians were truly gone. Then, going back to the house by way of the shrubbery, I found Mr. Franklin and Mr. Murthwaite walking slowly up and down among the trees.
Ah, Betteridge. I've been telling Mr. Murthwaite the whole story of how the jewel came into my hands.
Ah, Mr. Betteridge.
Those 3 Indians are no more jugglers than you and I are.
Oh? Have you met with them before?
Never. But I know what Indian juggling really is. All you have seen tonight is a very bad and clumsy imitation of it. Those men are high-caste Brahmins, and when I charged them with being disguised, you saw how it told on them.
Aye.
There is a mystery about their conduct that I can't explain. They have doubly sacrificed their caste, first in crossing the sea, secondly in disguising themselves as jugglers. There must be some very serious motive at the bottom of it.
And what does your experience say?
My experience says that you have had more narrow escapes of your life, Mr. Franklin Blake, than I have had of mine. And that is saying a great deal.
Is it really as serious as that?
I can't doubt that the restoration of the Moonstone to its place on the forehead of the Indian idol is the motive. Those men will wait their opportunity with the patience of cats, and will use it with the ferocity of tigers.
You don't really mean to say, sir, that they would have taken Mr. Franklin's life to get that diamond, if he'd given them a chance?
I do, sir. If 1,000 lives stood between them and the getting back of their diamond, they would take them all.
Good Lord.
The sacrifice of caste is a serious thing in India.
Yeah.
The sacrifice of life is nothing at all.
Then they are a set of murdering thieves.
On the contrary, they are a wonderful people.
But they have seen the Moonstone on Miss Verinder's dress. So what is to be done?
What your uncle threatened to do. Send the diamond tomorrow to be cut up in Amsterdam. There is an end of its sacred identity as the Moonstone, and there is an end of the conspiracy.
Betteridge, we must speak to Lady Verinder tomorrow.
But what about tonight, sir? Suppose the Indians come back?
No, I don't think they would risk coming back tonight.
You suppose the rogues are bolder than you think?
In that case, let the dogs loose. The Mastiff and the Bloodhound have one great merit. They are not likely to be troubled with your scruples about the sanctity of human life. Besides, by the look of that sky, the Indians will want their umbrellas tonight.
Yes. I think we'd better be going in.
2 or so hours later, when the guests had driven away in the pouring rain, I went back into the inner hall and found Godfrey Ablewhite at the side table presiding over the brandy and soda water as my lady and Miss Rachel came out of the drawing room, followed by Mr. Franklin.
Rachel, where are you going to put your diamond tonight?
On my dressing table, along with my other things. Oh, except it might take to shining of itself in the dark and terrify me in the dead of night. I know. I shall put the Indian diamond in my Indian cabinet for the purpose of letting 2 beautiful native productions admire each other.
My dear, your Indian cabinet has no lock on it.
Oh, good heavens, Mamma. Is this an hotel? Are there thieves in the house?
Why not let me keep the diamond for you tonight?
No, it is mine and it shall stay by me.
Come into my room, Rachel, the first thing tomorrow morning. I shall have something to say to you. Good night, gentlemen.
Good night, Hal.
Good night.
Good night, Mr. Godfrey.
Good night.
Good night, Mr. Franklin.
Good night, Rachel.
And thank you so much for my wonderful birthday present.
Will you be having a brandy and soda water, Mr. Franklin?
No, thank you.
Sir?
You should, you know. Here, I'll pour one for you. It's always a good idea to take something before retiring.
Oh, all right. Good night.
Good night. Good night, Betteridge.
And with that, the evening was finally over. The dogs were running loose, the rain was beating down, and all the doors and windows were safely locked as I climbed the stairs to my well-earned night's rest.
Father, come downstairs for God's sake. The diamond is gone.
Are you out of your mind?
The diamond is gone. It's gone. Nobody knows how. Come down and see.
I dressed myself quickly and made my way to Miss Rachel's rooms. There, on the threshold, stood Miss Rachel, almost as white in the face as the white dressing-gown that clothed her. There also stood the 2 doors of the Indian cabinet, wide open. One of the drawers inside was pulled out as far as it would go.
Father, look. I myself saw Miss Rachel put the diamond into that drawer last night.
Is this true, miss?
The diamond is gone. The diamond is gone.
Oh, my God.
Richard, what on earth is going on?
My lady, the diamond's gone.
Rachel? Rachel, let me in. I have to speak to you.
What's all the fuss?
The diamond's gone.
Gone?
Aye.
Franklin, do you hear? The diamond's gone. How?
As yet, sir, nobody knows.
Oh, damn. I've had my first good night's sleep since forswearing cigars, and so I failed to stop this conspiracy.
The Indians, do you think, sir?
Who else, Betteridge? Who else?
Has a thorough search been carried out?
We've looked everywhere in the room, sir, and there's no sign of it.
I must speak to Rachel. Aunt Julia.
The loss of the diamond seems to have quite overwhelmed my daughter. It is impossible you can see her for the present.
Well, is there nothing we can do for her?
She shrinks in the strangest manner from speaking of it, even to me. I suppose I have no alternative but to send for the police.
Yes. And the first thing for the police to do is to lay hands on the Indian jugglers who performed here last night.
What do you mean?
I can't stop to explain myself, no. But give me your permission, my lady, and I will ride to Freising Hall and present myself to the magistrate there, informing him that I represent your interests and wishes. Our chances of catching the thieves may depend on our not wasting one unnecessary minute.
Very well, since you are so certain.
Samuel, prepare a horse for Mr. Franklin straight away. Yes, sir.
A little before 11, Mr. Franklin came back. That resolute side of him had, to all appearances, given way in the interval since his departure. He had left us at a gallop. He came back to us at a walk. Well, are the police coming?
Yes. But the case is hopeless.
You mean the Indians have escaped?
The poor, ill-used Indians have been most unjustly put in prison. They're as innocent as the babe unborn.
How come?
Well, all three were seen returning to Freising Hall with their boy last night between 10 and 11. Later still, at midnight, the police, having occasion to search the common lodging house where they lived, saw them all three again, and their little boy with them as usual. There is not even a case of suspicion against them so far. However, the worthy magistrate's an old friend of my aunt's and has committed the Indians to prison for a week.
So if the jugglers are innocent, who in the name of wonder took the Moonstone out of Miss Rachel's drawer?
I have no answer for you, Betteridge. None at all.
A few minutes later, 3 policemen arrived, a Superintendent Seagrave and 2 constables. We need not detain ourselves with his inquiries, such as they were, since they came to nothing. Mr. Franklin declared the superintendent an ass, while Mr. Godfrey considered him a most competent person. The superintendent's supposition that one of our servants was the culprit only enraged most of the staff, while his clear indication that his main suspicion was of my own dear daughter enraged me. The only matter he established as fact was that somebody had smeared the decorative paintwork on Miss Rachel's door, probably he surmised when the servants invaded the room in protest at his actions. Miss Rachel refused point blank to speak to the superintendent, but suddenly appeared among us as, yet again, we searched her rooms.
Penelope, Mr. Franklin Blake sent you with a message from me this morning.
Yes, miss.
He wished to speak to me, didn't he?
Yes, miss.
Where is he now?
Mr. Franklin is on the terrace, miss.
Rachel.
Carry on, Penelope. I couldn't help looking out of the window when Miss Rachel met the gentlemen outside. She went up to Mr. Franklin without appearing to notice Mr. Godfrey, who thereupon drew back and left them by themselves. What she said to Mr. Franklin appeared to be spoken vehemently, and, judging by what I saw of his face, seemed to astonish him beyond all power of expression. Miss Rachel then came back inside, locked herself in her room, and began crying. In a rage one moment, in tears the next. What did it mean? Miss Rachel wasn't the only one whose head seemed to have been turned by the business with the diamond either. Rosanna? Now, what might you want in the library at this time of day, Miguel? You know you're not supposed to be in there.
Mr. Franklin Blake dropped one of his rings upstairs. I've been into the library to give it to him.
Well, all right. Get back to your work.
Yes.
Betteridge.
Sir?
I need a conveyance to the railway station.
Are you going to London, sir?
I'm going to telegraph to London. I've convinced my aunt that we must have a cleverer head than Superintendent Seagraves to help us.
Aye.
My father knows the Chief Commissioner of Police, and the Commissioner can lay hands on the right man to solve the mystery of the diamond.
Good plan, sir.
Talking of mysteries, either Rosanna Spearman's head is not quite right, or I'm afraid she knows more about the Moonstone than she ought to know.
Oh, what makes you say so?
Well, she came in here with a ring I dropped in my bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
When I thanked her, I expected her to go. Instead of that, she stood opposite me at the table, looking at me in the oddest manner, half frightened, half familiar. I couldn't make it out.
This is a strange thing about the diamond, sir.
Yes, it is.
They will never find the diamond, sir, will they? No. Nor the person who took it. I'll answer for that.
Then, hearing your step outside, she changed colour and left the room. What on earth does it mean?
I've no idea, sir.
I can't bear the idea of getting the poor girl into a scrape merely because she has a flighty way with her and talks very strangely, and yet if she had said to the superintendent what she said to me, I'm afraid
The best way, sir, will be for me to say 2 words privately to my mistress about it. My lady has a very friendly interest in Rosanna, and the girl may only have been a bit forward and foolish after all.
Oh, thank you, Betteridge.
Sir.
Father,
What is it, my dear?
I thought I should tell you. Rosanna's been suddenly taken ill and gone upstairs to her own room to lie down.
Curious. She looked well enough when I saw her not 10 minutes ago. Look, keep an eye out for her, there's a good girl.
I will.
We will make as light of this as we can before my aunt, but it is a more important matter than you may suppose.
It is a matter of £20,000, sir.
It's a matter of quieting Rachel's mind. I'm very uneasy about her. Now, I must send the telegram.
The Thursday night passed and nothing happened. With the Friday morning, though, came news. The baker's man declared to Penelope that he had met Rosanna Spearman on the previous afternoon, with a thick veil on, walking towards Frizinghall by the footpath over the moor. It seemed strange that anybody should be mistaken about Rosanna, but mistaken the man must have been, for Rosanna, as you know, had been all the Thursday afternoon ill upstairs in her room. Of more pressing import was the telegram which arrived in reply to Mr. Franklin's of the previous day. Mr. Franklin, sir, this may be of interest.
Oh, splendid. Excellent. The Commissioner has laid hands on the right man to help us, a man by the name of Sergeant Cuff, and he'll be arriving on the morning train.
Do you know this man, Cuff, sir?
Well, only by reputation. But if half the stories I've heard are true, when it comes to unravelling a mystery, there isn't the equal in England of Sergeant Cuff.
Splendid.
I begin to hope we are seeing the end of our anxieties already.
When the time came for the sergeant's arrival, I went down to the gate to look out for him. A fly from the railway drove up as I reached the lodge, and out got a grizzled elderly man, so miserably lean that he looked as if he'd not got an ounce of flesh on his bones in any part of him.
Is this Lady Verinder's?
Yes, sir.
I'm Sergeant Cuff.
This way, sir, if you please.
And these grounds are very nice. The sea air is very brisk and refreshing.
Yes, sir.
Do you have a rose garden?
Oh, indeed.
Yeah, you've got the right exposure here to the south and southwest. Yeah, this is the shape for a rosary. Nothing like a circle set in a square with walks between all the beds, but They oughtn't to be gravel walks like these. Grass walks between your roses. Gravel's too hard for them.
You seem to be very fond of roses, Sergeant.
Well, I haven't much time to be fond of anything, Mr.
Betteridge, sir.
But when I have a moment's fondness to bestow, most times, Mr. Betteridge, the roses get it, sir. I began my life among them in my father's nursery garden, and I shall end my life among them if I can.
Ah. Well, it seems an odd taste, sir, for a man in your line of life.
Does it? Now, show me, if you will, the room from which the diamond disappeared. What did the superintendent make of this, then, Betteridge?
Very little, sir. Save for the smear in the paint there on the door. He supposed that to have been done by one of the servants when they all crowded into the room.
Did he now? What time was that?
11 on Thursday morning, sir. He said one of their petticoats must have done it.
Did he say which one?
No, sir.
Is there anyone in the house who knows whether that paint was wet or dry at 11 yesterday morning?
Well, her ladyship's nephew, Mr. Franklin Blake, knows. He's just across the hall. Shall I call him?
If you wouldn't mind.
Sir. Mr. Franklin, sir, are you there?
Yes?
Mr. Franklin! Sergeant Cuff has arrived, sir.
Ah, good news, at last. Pleased to meet you, Sergeant.
Yes, sir. What can you tell me about this door? How long would this paint have taken to dry?
Well, the door's been painted by Miss Verinder under my inspection and with my help, in a vehicle of my own composition. The vehicle dries, whatever colours may be used with it, in 12 hours.
Do you remember when the smear bit was done, sir?
Perfectly. That was the last morsel of the door to be finished. Was it by 3 in the afternoon or soon after?
So, at 3 on the Wednesday afternoon, that bit of the painting was completed. The vehicle dried it in 12 hours, that is to say by 3 o'clock on Thursday morning. At 11 on Thursday morning, the superintendent held his inquiry here.
Yes.
Take 3 from 11 and 8 remains. That paint had been 8 hours dry when the superintendent supposed that the women servants' petticoats smeared it. It's quite on the cards, sir, that you have put the clue into our hands.
Did you say that he had put the clue into your hands?
This is Miss Verinder, Sergeant.
That gentleman, miss, has possibly put the clue into our hands. Having answered your question, miss, I beg leave to make an inquiry in my turn. There is a smear on the painting of your door here. Do you happen to know when it was done, or who did it?
Are you another police officer?
I am Sergeant Cuff, miss, of the detective police.
Do you think a young lady's advice worth having?
I should be glad to hear it, miss.
Do your duty by yourself, and don't allow Mr. Franklin Blake to help you.
Thank you, miss. Do you happen to know anything about the smear? Might you have done it by accident yourself?
I know nothing about the smear.
Rachel! I told you I was uneasy about her, Betteridge. Now you can see why.
Miss Verinder appears to be a little out of temper with the loss of her diamond. Natural enough, it's a valuable jewel. But let us forget what has passed and go on with this business. Who was the last person in the room, the last thing on Wednesday night?
Miss Rachel, I suppose, sir.
Or possibly your daughter, Betteridge.
My daughter is Miss Rachel's maid, Sergeant.
Then perhaps you will ask her to step up.
Yes, sir.
But please inform her and the rest of the servants of 2 things. First, that I have no evidence before me yet that the diamond has been stolen. I only know that the diamond has been lost. Second, that my business here with the servants is simply to ask them to lay their heads together and help me to find it.
Yeah. May I make so bold as to tell the women a third thing, sir?
Ah.
The superintendent confined them to their quarters. May I now tell them that they're free to fidget up and downstairs and whisk in and out of their bedrooms if the fit takes them?
Perfectly free.
Oh, that will smooth them down. From the cook to the scullion.
Go and do it at once, Mr. Betteridge.
I did it in less than 5 minutes. The sergeant seemed to approve of Penelope. He became a trifle less dreary, and he looked much as he had looked when he saw our rose garden. When he was done with Penelope, the sergeant examined the smeared paint with a magnifying glass.
No skin mark as of a human hand printed off on the paint. All the signs visible tell me that the paint has been smeared by some loose article of somebody's dress touching it and going by. That somebody must have been in the room and done the mischief between midnight and 3 o'clock on Thursday morning. So, we must first discover if there is an article of clothing with the paint smear on it anywhere in the house. Then we must find out who that dress belongs to, and finally we must find out how the person can account for having been in this room and smeared the paint between the hours in question. If the person cannot satisfy us, then we shan't have far to look for the hand that has got the diamond. Mr. Betteridge, I should like 10 minutes' conversation with your mistress at her ladyship's earliest convenience.
I'll arrange it.
Sergeant, can you guess who has stolen the diamond yet?
Nobody has stolen the diamonds.
What do you mean?
How can that be?
Wait a little. The pieces of the puzzle are not all put together yet.
In episode 1 of The Moonstone by Wilkie Collins, Lady Verinder was played by Eleanor Bron, Sergeant Cuff by Kenneth Cranham, Franklin Blake by Paul Rhys, Rachel Verinder by Jasmine Hyde, and Betteridge by Steve Hodson. John Herncastle was played by Stephen Critchlow, Godfrey Ablewhite by Mark Straker, Rosanna Spearman by Alison Pettit, Mr. Mirthwaite by Paul Bhattacharjee, Penelope by Claire Corbett, The Indian by Narinda Samra, The Housemaid by Carolyn Pickles, and The Little Boy by Alex Miller. The Moonstone was recorded on location by Lucinda Mason Brown, with original music by David Chilton. It was dramatised by Doug Lucie and produced by Janet Whittaker. The Moonstone was a Goldhawk Essential production for BBC Radio 4. The Moonstone by Wilkie Collins, dramatised by Doug Lucie. Episode 2.
Prior to the arrival of the Moonstone, I was merely old Gabriel Betteridge, house steward to my Lady Verinder. After the disappearance of the cursed jewel, however, I found myself also in the service of the great detective Sergeant Cuff, whose suspicions had only increased the atmosphere of dread within the entire household.
Come!
My lady, Sergeant Cuff wishes to speak to you.
Oh. Must I see him? Can't you represent me, Gabriel? I'm afraid my nerves are a little shaken, and there's something in the necessity of having that police officer from London in my house which I recoil from. I don't know why. I have a presentiment that he is bringing trouble and misery with him into the house. Very foolish and very unlike me. But so it is.
Shall I tell him you won't see him?
If I must see him, I must. Bring him in, Gabriel, and stay here as long as he stays.
Aye, as you wish, my lady. Sergeant.
Sergeant Cuff.
My lady.
I hope you have no objection to Mr. Betteridge being present. He is my most trusted adviser, and in anything which relates to the household, he is the person whom it might be most profitable to consult.
I would take his presence as a favour.
Then please take a seat. Now, what do you have to say to me?
I've already formed an opinion on this case, which I beg your ladyship's permission to keep to myself for the present. My business now is to mention what I've discovered upstairs in Miss Verinder's sitting room and what I've decided on doing next.
Proceed.
Very well. There is a smear on the newly painted door of Miss Verinder's room, which I've established to have been made between 12 and 3 o'clock in the morning on the night of the diamond's disappearance. One thing is certain. The diamond is missing out of the drawer of the cabinet. Another thing is next to certain. The marks from the smear on the door must be on some article of dress belonging to somebody in this house. We must discover that article of dress before we go a step further.
And that discovery implies, I presume, the discovery of the thief.
I beg your ladyship's pardon. I don't say that the diamond is stolen. I only say at present that the diamond is missing. The discovery of the stained dress may lead the way to finding it.
How do you propose to discover the stained dress?
I propose explaining the case to the servants with a view to inspecting their wardrobes.
But the women will think themselves suspected directly.
Not if I can tell them. I'm going to examine the wardrobes of everybody, from her ladyship downwards, who slept in the house on Wednesday night.
You are certain the investigation is necessary?
I am.
Then you shall speak to the servants with the keys of my wardrobe in your hand. Gabriel, ring for my maid.
Hadn't we better make sure first that the other lady and gentleman in the house will consent to?
There is not the least fear of refusal from any of the three. So, if I send you down Miss Verinder's keys, I presume I shall have done all you want of me for the present.
Oh, one more thing. I should like, if convenient, to have the washing book. If the search leads to nothing, I want to be able to account next for all the linen in the house and for all the linen sent to the wash. If there is an article missing, there will be at least a presumption that it has got the paint stain on it and that it was purposely made away with by the person owning it.
Very well. See to it, Gabriel.
Yes, my lady.
Come. Ah, Godfrey.
I beg your pardon for disturbing you, Aunt, but I have business in London with one of my charities. I need to leave by the next train.
Sergeant?
I see no reason why a gentleman such as Mr. Ablewhite should be detained here when he has urgent business elsewhere. No suspicion attaches to him.
What of his wardrobe?
Is your clothing all packed up, sir?
It is. My case is in the hall.
The sergeant needs to inspect the clothing of every person in the house, Godfrey, as part of his investigations.
Oh, of course. I shall leave my case here, and when the sergeant is done, perhaps Betteridge will send it on to me in London?
I will, sir.
That suits me very well.
Goodbye, then, Aunt. I shan't be away from you for very long, I trust.
Goodbye, Godfrey.
Gentlemen.
Now, Gabriel, the washing book.
Yes, my lady. I sent for the book and sought out Mr. Franklin for his assent for his wardrobe to be searched, which was freely given. The washing book was brought to my lady's room by Rosanna Spearman, who had come down to breakfast that morning miserably pale and haggard, but was now sufficiently recovered to do her usual work. The great Cuff opened the book, understood it perfectly in half a minute, and shut it up again.
Have you anything more to say to me, Sergeant?
Yes. Has the young woman who brought us this book been in your employment as long as the other servants?
Why do you ask?
Because the last time I saw her, she was in prison for theft.
She has put her past behind her, and her conduct in my service has been excellent. You don't suspect her, I hope?
I've already told your ladyship that I don't suspect any person in the house of thieving, up to the present time.
I shall go and ask my daughter for her keys, then.
Well, thank you.
At last the footman came in, not with the keys, but with a morsel of paper for me. There were 2 or 3 lines on the paper written by my lady. They informed me that Miss Rachel flatly refused to have her wardrobe examined.
But why, Rachel?
I won't. Because I won't. I must yield to force if you use it, but I will yield to nothing else.
I well understood my lady's disinclination to face Sergeant Cuff with such an answer from her daughter as that.
Any news of Miss Verinder's keys?
My young lady refuses to have her wardrobe examined.
Ah.
Must the search be given up?
Yes, we must examine all the wardrobes in the house or none.
You don't seem much disappointed.
No, I'm not much disappointed.
Why should Miss Rachel put an obstacle in your way? Isn't it in her interest to help you?
Wait a little, Mr. Betteridge. Wait a little.
So what's to be done next?
Come out to the garden. Let's have a look at the roses.
The nearest way to the garden was by the shrubbery path. And for your better understanding of what is now to come, I may add to this that the shrubbery path was Mr. Franklin's favourite walk. As things are now, if I was in your place, I'd be at my wit's end.
Well, we won't enter into your young lady's motives. We will only say it's a pity she declines to assist me, because by so doing, she makes this investigation more difficult than it might otherwise have been. We must now try to solve the mystery of the smear on the door in some other way. You're an observant man. Did you notice anything strange in any of the servants after the loss of the diamond? Any one of them unexpectedly out of temper or taken ill?
Well...
Hello.
What's the matter?
Touch of the rheumatics in my back. We shall have a change in the weather before long. This way, Mr. Betteridge.
Sergeant Cuff suddenly led us into the middle of the garden, where we could see round us on every side.
About that young person, Rosanna Spearman. It isn't very likely with her personal appearance that she has got a lover, but I must ask you whether she has provided herself with a sweetheart, poor wretch, like the rest of them.
Oh, why do you ask?
I saw Rosanna Spearman hiding in the shrubberies we went by.
Oh, when you said hello.
Yes, if there's a sweetheart in the case, the hiding doesn't much matter. If there isn't, the hiding is a highly suspicious circumstance, and it will be my painful duty to act on it accordingly.
Rosanna's been mad enough to set her heart on Mr. Franklin Blake. My daughter Penelope's over and over caught her again hanging about here in order to attract his attention.
Does Mr. Franklin have any suspicion of the girl's fancy for him?
None at all in my estimation.
He would have found it out fast enough if she'd been nice looking. So, I'll ask you again. Did you notice anything you couldn't account for in any of the servants when the loss of the diamond was first found out?
I noticed nothing, except that we all lost our heads together, myself included.
Oh, that's all you have to tell me, is it?
That is all.
Mr. Betteridge, have you any objection to oblige me by shaking hands? I've taken an extraordinary liking to you.
Why he should have chosen the exact moment when I was deceiving him regarding Rosanna's behaviour to give me that proof of his good opinion is beyond all comprehension. Though I really did feel a little proud of having been one too many for the celebrated Cuff.
Now, Betteridge, let us return indoors. Is there a room I may have use of?
You may use my room, sir.
Thank you. I'd ask you to gather the servants and then send them in one after another in the order of their rank from first to last.
I showed Sergeant Cuff into my room, called the servants together and sent them in one by one as desired. When it was all over, I myself went in and found the sergeant looking out of the window and whistling the last rose of summer. Any discoveries, sir?
If Rosanna Spearman asks leave to go out, let the poor thing go, but let me know first.
Oh, I hope you don't think Rosanna's concerned in the loss of the diamond.
I think I'd better not tell you, Mr. Betteridge. You might lose your head, you know, for the second time.
Father, Rosanna has asked to be allowed out.
Did she say why?
She says her head is bad and she wants a breath of fresh air.
Tell her she may go.
Father?
Do as the sergeant says, girl.
Yes, Father.
Which is the servant's way out?
I'll show you.
Thank you. Lock the door of this room, and if anybody asks for me, say I'm in here composing my mind.
Very well. In order to discover what had caused the sergeant's further suspicion of poor Rosanna, I looked in on the servants' hall. There I found my lady's maid and the housemaid drinking tea.
We neither of us believed in Rosanna's illness, so during the Thursday afternoon, we tried her door a few times and found it locked.
And when we knocked, there was no answer.
And not a sound inside.
When she came down to tea, then went up to her room again, still out of sorts. We tried her door again, but it was locked.
And the keyhole was stopped up.
So we checked all through the night, and we saw a light under a door at midnight.
And at 4 a.m, we heard the crackling of a fire.
A fire in a servant's bedroom in the month of June.
At 4 a.m.
And you told the sergeant all this?
Oh, yes, sir.
Oh, yes, sir.
I walked out into the fine summer afternoon, very sorry for the poor girl, and drifted towards the shrubbery, where I met Mr. Franklin, back from seeing Mr. Godfrey off at the station.
Well, Betteridge, how does the atmosphere of mystery and suspicion in which we are all now living agree with you? You remember that morning when I first came here with the Moonstone? I wish to God we had thrown it into the quicksand.
Aye, sir.
What's become of Sergeant Cuff?
Oh. My lady's maid and the housemaid have furnished him with information which has caused him to doubt Rosanna Spearman.
Huh.
She's been out of her room when she's supposed to have been ill, and she's been lighting a fire in there in the middle of the night. And now she's gone out the house again with a sergeant after her.
Well, didn't you tell me this morning that one of the tradespeople declared that he'd met her yesterday when we supposed her to be ill in her room?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So then the girl's attack of illness was a blind to deceive us. She had some guilty reason for going to town secretly. The paint-stained dress is hers, and the fire was lit to destroy it. So Rosanna Spearman has stolen the diamond. Well, I'll go in directly and tell my aunt the turn things have taken.
Not just yet, if you please, sir.
Sergeant?
Why? Not just yet.
Because, sir, if you tell her ladyship will tell Miss Verinder.
Suppose she does, what then?
Do you think it's wise, sir, to put such a question as that to me at such a time as this?
I suppose you know, Mr. Cuff, that you are treading on delicate ground.
Well, it isn't the first time by a good many hundreds that I find myself treading on delicate ground.
Am I to understand that you forbid me to tell my aunt what has happened?
You are to understand, if you please, sir, that I throw up the case if you tell Lady Verinder or tell anybody what has happened until I give you leave.
Delicate ground, sir. Very delicate.
Mr. Betteridge, you've done a very foolish thing in my absence. You've done a little detective business on your own account. For the future, perhaps, you'll be so obliging as to do your detective business along with me.
I dare say I deserve your reproof, Sergeant. But I am not going to help you set traps for Rosanna Spearman for all that. Thief or no thief, I pity her.
And your concern does you credit. Tell me, is there any path in that direction leading to the beach from this house?
Yes, sir. There's a path through the fir plantation.
Show it to me.
And side by side, in the shade of the plantation, Sergeant Cuff and I set forth for the shivering sand.
Mr. Betteridge, I see no use in our mystifying one another any longer. You are determined to give me no information to the prejudice of Rosanna Spearman because she's been a good girl to you, and because you pity her heartily. But let me tell you, she's not in the slightest danger of getting into trouble. No. Not if I fix her with being concerned in the disappearance of the diamond on evidence which is as plain as the nose on your face.
Do you mean that my lady won't prosecute?
I mean that your lady can't prosecute. Rosanna Spearman is simply an instrument in the hands of another person, and Rosanna Spearman will be held harmless for that other person's sake.
Can't you just give that other person a name?
Can't you?
No.
Do you happen to know whether Rosanna Spearman has had a new outfit of linen lately?
Aye. My lady, in recompense for her good conduct, gave her a new outfit not a fortnight since.
But for that outfit, we should have discovered a new nightgown or petticoat among Rosanna's things, and have nailed her in that way. Well, you have examined the servants yourself, and you know what discoveries two of them made outside Rosanna's door. Surely you know what the girl was about yesterday after she was taken ill?
Perhaps you will enlighten me.
When the smear on a door is pointed out, she takes the first opportunity of getting to a room, finds a paint stain on a nightgown or petticoat, shams ill, and slips away to the town, getting the materials for making a new garment. Makes it in her room on the Thursday night, lights a fire. Not to burn the old nightgown or petticoat, but to dry and iron the substitute dress after wringing it out. Keeps the stained dress hidden, and is at this moment occupied in making away with it in some convenient place on that lonely bit of beach ahead of us.
Pure supposition.
I've traced her this evening to your fishing village and to one particular cottage. She stopped in the cottage for some time and she came out with something under her cloak. Ah, here's the beach. Now, sand, in respect of its printing off people's footsteps, is one of the best detective officers I know. If we don't meet with Rosanna Spearman by coming round on her this way, the sand may well tell us what she's been at. Now, this is a treacherous place. And no signs of Rosanna Spearman anywhere on the beach. How does the fishing village bear standing where we are now?
Cobb's Hole bears as near as maybe due south.
I saw the girl this evening walking northward along the shore from Cobb's Hole. She must have been walking towards this place. Can we reach Cobb's Hole? You know, it's low water by the beach.
Yes.
Then I suggest we step out briskly. I want to find the place where she walked into the sea, so as to leave no footprints before it gets dark.
We had walked, I should say, a couple of 100 yards, when Sergeant Cuff suddenly went down on his knees. To all appearances seized with a sudden frenzy for saying his prayers.
Here are a woman's footsteps, Mr. Betteridge. Very confused footsteps, you will please to observe. Purposely confused, I should say. She understands the detective virtues of sand as well as I do. I don't want to hurt your feelings, but I'm afraid Rosanna is sly. It looks as if she walked through the water from this point till she got to that ledge of rocks behind us and came back the same way. It seems to fit in with my notion that she had something under her cloak, not something to destroy. For where would have been the need of all these precautions to prevent my tracing her?
What, then?
Something to hide is, I think, the better guess of the two. Perhaps, if we go on to the cottage, we may find out what that something is.
You don't want me. Now what good can I do?
If I go with you, I'll go introduced by a justly respected neighbour. A flow of conversation is a necessary result. If I go alone, the people's tongues will be tied at the first question I put to them.
No, that's your reasoning.
Come along then, no time to lose.
The cottage was inhabited by a fisherman named Yolland and his wife and 2 grown-up children, a son and a daughter. Rosanna's acquaintance with them had begun by means of the daughter, who was afflicted with a misshapen foot, and who was known in our parts as Limping Lucie. On reaching the cottage, the fisherman and his son proved to be out on the boat, and Limping Lucie, always weak and weary, was resting on her bed upstairs. Good Mrs. Yolland received us alone in her kitchen.
Will you have a nip of Dutch gin, Sergeant?
It's most kind, Mrs. Yolland, I will.
Mr. Betteridge?
Not for me, Mrs. Yolland.
So, it's Rosanna you're inquiring of?
It is. There is a prize diamond gone missing at Lady Verinder's house, and some of the cruel servants have cast suspicion on Rosanna Spearman.
Oh, no.
Now, I am contracted to find the lost diamond, but I'm also committed to clearing Rosanna from the unjust suspicions of her enemies in the house.
Oh, bless you, sir.
She has a sincere well-wisher in myself, your obedient servant, but oh dear me. She will never get on in her present place, and my advice to her is leave it.
Bless your heart alive, she is going to leave it.
So, she means to leave? What is she going to do when she does leave? The poor creature's got no friends in the world except you and me.
Ah, but she has, though. She came in here this evening and asked to go upstairs by herself into Lucie's room. It's the only room in our place where there's pen and ink. She wanted to write a letter away from the prying and peeping of the servants up at the house. Who the letter was written to, I can't tell you, but a friend she has got somewhere, I can tell you that. And to that friend, you may depend upon it, she will go.
Soon?
As soon as she can.
No, you must be mistaken. If she'd been going to leave her present situation, she would have mentioned it, and in the first place, to me.
Mistaken? Why, only an hour ago she bought some things she wanted for travelling. Of my own self, Mr. Betteridge, in this very room.
What things?
Well, an old tin case, the sort of thing they use on ships for keeping maps and charts from the wet. She said it would keep her cuffs and collars from being crumpled in a box.
Anything else?
A couple of dog chains for securing the case.
Never heard of a case being corded with chains.
Aye, sir, a strange girl. Good as gold and kinder than a sister to my Lucie, but always a little strange.
Well, Mrs. Yolland, it's time for us to take our leave. I thank you for your kindness to Rosanna, and assure you I will do everything to aid her cause.
Amen, sir.
I'm indebted to the fisherman's wife for an entirely new sensation. Mrs. Yolland has puzzled me.
How?
What the girl has done tonight is clear enough, of course. She's joined the two chains and fastened them to the hasp in the tin case. She's sunk the case in the water or the quicksand and made the chain fast to some place under the rocks. And she will leave the case secure till the present proceedings are done, after which she can privately pull it up again. The mystery is, what the devil has she hidden in the tin case?
Can't you guess?
It's not the diamonds. The whole experience of my life is at fault if Rosanna Spearman has got the diamond.
The stained dress.
Is anything thrown into that quicksand ever thrown up on the surface again?
Never.
Does Rosanna know that?
She knows it as well as I do.
Then what on earth has she got to do but tie up a bit of stone in the dress and throw it into the quicksand? There isn't the shadow of a reason why she should have hidden it, and yet she must have hidden it. Mr. Betteridge, I must go to Fry's Hall tomorrow and discover what she bought in town.
When we got back, the servants were at supper. In the outer yard was the policeman who'd been left at Sergeant Cuff's disposal.
Constable Joyce, has Rosanna Spearman returned yet?
Yes, sir, about an hour since.
What were her actions?
Well, she went upstairs to take off her bonnet and cloak. She's now at supper with the rest.
Thank you, Joyce. That window up there, isn't that Miss Verinder's room?
Aye, it is.
The lights passing backwards and forwards as if something unusual is going on.
Such as?
I would lay you an even sovereign that your young lady has suddenly resolved to leave the house and within the last hour. And I shouldn't be surprised if a scandal was to burst up in the house tonight.
No.
Don't be alarmed. I've put the muzzle on worse family difficulties than this in my time.
Sergeant, is it important to the inquiry you're conducting to know beforehand if any person now in this house wishes to leave it?
Most important, my lady.
I have to tell you, then, that Miss Verinder proposes going to stay with her aunt, Mrs. Ablewhite of Rising Hall. She has arranged to leave us first thing tomorrow morning.
May I ask your ladyship when Miss Verinder informed you that she was going to her aunt's?
About an hour since.
Oh. Can I ask you to put off her departure, if possible, till later in the day? I must go to Fry's Hall myself tomorrow morning, and I shall be back by 2 o'clock. If Miss Verinder can be kept here till that time, I should wish to say 2 words to her unexpectedly before she goes.
Gabriel, will you inform the coachman that he is to pick Miss Verinder up at 2 o'clock?
I will, my lady.
Have you any more to say, Sergeant?
Only one thing, your ladyship. If Miss Verinder is surprised at this change in the arrangements, please not to mention me as being the cause of putting off her journey.
As you wish. Now, if that's all...
Mr. Cuff.
Well, that's a wonderful woman, but for her self-control, the mystery that puzzles you, Mr. Betteridge, would have been at an end tonight.
Damn you. There's something wrong about Miss Rachel, and you've been hiding it from me all this time.
Ah, you've guessed it at last.
Tell me the truth, Sergeant. What do you suspect? It's no kindness to hide it from me now.
I don't suspect, I know.
Do you mean to tell me Miss Rachel's stolen her own diamond?
Yes, Miss Verinder has been in secret possession of the Moonstone from first to last, and she has taken Rosanna Spearman into her confidence because she has calculated on our suspecting Rosanna Spearman of the theft. There is the whole case in a nutshell.
Give me your reasons.
You should hear my reasons tomorrow. let the matter rest for tonight, except...
What now?
I understand there is a traveller who understands Indians and their language.
Yes, Mr. Murthwaite.
That's him. Could you furnish me with his address so I might look up that gentleman when I go to Friesen Hall in the morning?
Of course.
And good night, Mr. Betteridge.
Good night. In the hall, I met Penelope hanging about. Now, what are you waiting about for, Miguel?
My young lady's bell. Miss Rachel told me to wait for her bell to go unpacking for tomorrow's journey.
All right.
She is in wretchedly low spirits about the changed state of things. Nothing goes right, Father. Nothing is like what it used to be. I feel as if some dreadful misfortune is hanging over us all.
Aye, don't you worry, my dear. We'll soon have things back to normal. There, run along now.
Yes, Father.
Oh, dear. Rosanna? What's the matter, my girl?
Let me go.
Are you ill?
For God's sake, don't speak to me.
Rosanna, you come back here. Good Lord.
Betteridge, you seen anything of Rosanna Spearman?
She just passed me, sir, with a very disturbed face and in a very odd manner.
Well, I'm afraid that I am innocently the cause of that disturbance, Betteridge.
You, sir?
I can't explain it, but if the girl is concerned in the loss of the diamond, I do believe she was on the point of confessing everything. To me, of all people in the world, not 2 minutes since.
Did you meet her accidentally when you spoke to her?
I was in the billiard room trying to get this miserable business of the diamond out of my mind. I happened to look up, and there she stood at the sight of me, like a ghost. Do you wish to speak to me?
Yes, if I dare.
I don't understand you. Is there anything you want me to do?
He looks at the billiard balls. Anything rather than look at me.
Betteridge, would you tell her that I meant no unkindness? Though I confess I have almost hoped that the loss of the diamond might be traced to her. Not from any ill will to the poor girl, but...
But her recent conduct has raised suspicion.
Yes.
Perhaps the morning will bring some meaning to this behaviour of hers.
Let's hope so, Betteridge. You know, I can hardly bear this business of the diamond any longer.
Nor me.
Good night, then.
Good night, sir. Oh, Lord. Having closed the house up for the night downstairs, I made my way up to my room. I thought I heard a sound of regular and quiet breathing from the corridor which connected with Miss Rachel's room. I looked in, and there, coiled up on 3 chairs placed across the passage, with his respectable black coat rolled up for a pillow, lay and slept Sergeant Cuff. He woke instantly the moment I approached him.
Good night, Mr. Betteridge.
What are you doing here?
Miss Rachel and Rosanna must have communicated privately once already tonight. If they try to communicate again when the house is quiet, I want to be in the way and stop it.
Oh, I wish to God that diamond had never found its way into this house.
So do I. Good night.
Good night. Nothing happened in the night, and no attempt at communication between Miss Rachel and Rosanna rewarded the vigilance of Sergeant Cuff. Shortly after breakfast, I met Mr. Franklin on his favourite walk in the shrubbery.
Well, Betteridge, how are things set this morning?
Oh, the same, it seems, sir.
Hello. Good morning. Betteridge, Mr. Franklin?
Have you anything to say to me?
Only that I am an officer of the law, acting here under the sanction of the mistress of the house. Under these circumstances, is it or is it not your duty as a good citizen to assist me with any special information which you may happen to possess?
I possess no special information.
You may save time, sir, if you choose to understand me and speak out.
I don't understand you, and I have nothing to say.
One of the female servants, I won't mention any names, spoke to you privately last night.
I have nothing to say.
At this moment, who should appear at the end of the shrubbery walk but Rosanna Spearman, followed by Penelope, who was evidently trying to make her retrace her steps to the house.
Come back to the house.
Seeing Mr. Franklin was not alone, Rosanna came to a standstill. The sergeant, with his devilish cunning, took on not to have noticed them at all and struck in smoothly with an appearance of continuing the previous conversation.
You needn't be afraid of harming the girl, sir. On the contrary, I recommend you to honour me with your confidence if you feel any interest in Rosanna Spearman.
That is a highly offensive suggestion, sir. I take no interest whatever in Rosanna Spearman.
Rosanna suddenly turned round the moment Mr. Franklin had spoken, and let my daughter take her by the arm and lead her back to the house.
I shall go to Frising Hall now, Mr. Betteridge, and I shall be back before 2.
And you must make it right with Rosanna, Betteridge. Sergeant Cuff laid a trap for both of us. On the spur of the moment, I saw no better way out of it than the way I took. It stopped the girl from saying anything, and it showed the sergeant that I saw through him. He was evidently listening when I was speaking to you last night.
Aye. And I'll take the first opportunity of making it right with Rosanna, sir.
Yes. But I see no way out of this business which isn't dreadful to think of unless the diamond is traced to her. And yet I can't and won't help Sergeant Cuff to find the girl out.
Later that morning, Penelope collared me in the house and led me up to Rosanna's room.
You must speak to Rosanna, Father. I'm very uneasy about her.
Is she in her room?
Yes.
Oh.
I'm afraid Mr. Franklin has hurt Rosanna cruelly without intending it.
What took her into Shrubbery Walk?
Her own madness. She was bent on speaking to Mr. Franklin, come what might of it. If I could only have got her away before she heard those dreadful words. They seemed to turn her into stone.
Well, here we are.
Come in.
What are you doing, lass?
Sweeping.
Aye. I've got something to say to you from Mr. Franklin. He only said what he said this morning to stop the sergeant's mouth, and is mortified to think he's caused you injury with this necessary deception.
Mr. Franklin is very kind and considerate. Pleased to thank him.
Are you quite sure you understand me, Rosanna?
Quite sure.
Now come, my girl. Now, I'm your friend, even if you have done wrong. Make a clean breast of it, Rosanna.
Yes, I will.
To my lady?
No. To Mr. Franklin.
He's gone out for a walk.
Doesn't matter. I shan't trouble him today.
The way to relieve your mind is to speak to the merciful and Christian mistress who's always been kind to you.
No. I know a better way of relieving my mind than that.
What is it?
Please to let me get on with my work. Thank you, Mr. Betteridge.
Ooh.
Well, Father?
This is a matter for the doctor to look into. It's beyond me.
But Dr. Candy's very ill.
True. He does have an assistant, though.
Yes, Mr. Jennings.
Aye.
But none of us likes or trusts him. And in her present state, I fear a stranger might do her more harm than good.
Oh, Lord. I passed the lunchtime hoping to speak to my lady, but she was shut up with Miss Rachel. Then, just before 2, I heard my name called from the drive.
Mr. Betteridge, you there, sir?
Coming! I'm coming! What news from Frizinghall?
I've seen the Indians, and I have no doubt, and neither does Mr. Murthwaite, that they came to this place to steal the Moonstone. And I can tell you one thing, Betteridge. If we don't find the Moonstone, they will.
So much for the Indians. What about Rosanna?
I've traced her to a shop where she bought a piece of long cloth. She's very particular in choosing a certain quality, and she bought enough to make a nightgown.
Whose nightgown?
Her own, to be sure. Her nightgown must have brushed the wet paint on the door, and she couldn't destroy it without first providing another like it to make the inventory of her linen complete.
What proves it was her nightgown?
The material she bought. If it had been Miss Verinder's nightgown, she would have had to buy lace and frilling, and she wouldn't have had time to make it in one night. The pinches. Why then hide the smeared nightgown instead of destroying it? If she won't speak out, the hiding place of the shivering sand must be searched.
Uh-huh. And how are you going to find the spot?
It's a secret which I mean to keep to myself, I'm afraid. One thing at a time. Here's Miss Verinder's carriage. I must attend to her first. Coachman.
Sir?
You will see a friend of mine waiting among the trees on this side of the lodge gate. Without stopping the carriage, my friend will get up in the rumble with you. You have nothing to do but to hold your tongue and shut your eyes. Otherwise you'll get into trouble.
Yes, sir.
Betteridge?
Out here, my lady.
Are my daughter's bags loaded on the carriage?
They are. Is Miss Rachel ready?
Yes. Here she comes.
Try to forgive me, Mamma.
Miss Verinder.
What do you want?
I want to say one word to you, miss, before you go. Your leaving us as things are now puts an obstacle in the way of my recovering your diamond. Please to understand that, and now decide for yourself whether you go or stay.
Drive on, James.
Rachel!
Drive on!
Rachel, please, won't you speak to me? I implore you.
James! Drive on!
Warrant, my thanks for all your kindness, but I fear it's time for me to leave.
Let me see you before you go, Franklin.
Do me a last favour, Betteridge. Get me away to the train as soon as you can.
Oh, I will, sir. There's a time for everything, Mr. Cuff. This isn't a time for whistling.
No, it's time to take this business in hand, now, without sparing anybody. Your young lady has got a travelling companion in her mother's carriage, Mr. Betteridge, and the name of it is the Moonstone.
What?
Where's Joyce? Joyce! Where is Rosanna Spearman?
I can't account for it, sir. I'm very sorry, but somehow or other
Tell me that you've let her give you the slip.
Well, there are so many such passages in the lower parts of the house.
How long is it since you missed her?
9 hours since, sir.
You can go back to your regular business at Fry's and all, Mr. Joyce. Good day. Mr. Betteridge, I need to speak to the servants again.
Oh, for goodness sake, why?
This is how it stands. Rosanna has either gone direct to Fry's and all, or she's gone first to visit her hiding place at the Shivering Sand. I need to find out which of the servants saw the last of her before she left the house.
We best go inside, then. Now, McGill, tell the sergeant what you know about Rosanna's disappearance.
I saw her slip out with a letter in her hand and stop the butcher's man at the back door. She asked him to post the letter when he got back to Frizinghall. He looked at the address and said it was a roundabout way of delivering a letter directed to Cobb's Hole to post it at Frizinghall, and that, moreover, on a Saturday, which would prevent the letter from arriving till Monday. Rosanna answered that that was of no importance. She just needed to be sure the man would do as she told him. He promised he would, and he drove off. I was called back to work, and nobody's seen anything of Rosanna since.
Thank you.
That'll be all, Gil. Go on.
Thank you, sir.
Well?
Well, I must go to Frizinghall. The memorandum of the hiding place is in that letter. I must see the address at the post office, and if it is the address I suspect, I shall pay our friend Mrs. Yolland another visit on Monday next.
The news of Rosanna's disappearance had spread among the outdoor servants, and one of them, Duffy, a quick little imp, had seen the girl pass him in the fir plantation, not walking, but running in the direction of the seashore. Cuff and the boy struck out for the sands at a rate that my legs had no hope of matching. And then, shortly, Duffy came running back to ask for one of Rosanna Spearman's boots. This he was given, and he ran off again. And this time I decided to follow on.
Sergeant Cuff! Keep on that side. And come on down here to me. See here. This boot is a perfect match for these footprints, but they all point the same way, straight to the rocks. Hunt as I might, I can find no sign anywhere of the footsteps walking from them. She'd been back at the hiding place and some fatal accident has happened to her on those rocks. It must have happened on the quicksand side of the rocks.
No, accident, Mr. Cough. When she came to this place, she came weary of her life. To end it here.
How do you know?
Sometimes, Mr. Betteridge, I think that my grave is waiting for me here. I think the place has laid a spell on me. Look at the quicksand. It looks as if it had hundreds of suffocating people under it, all struggling to get to the surface, and all sinking lower and lower in the dreadful deeps. Throw a stone in, Mr. Betteridge, and let's see the sand suck it down.
Well, could a boat have taken her off in such weather as this, from those rocks where her footmarks stop?
No boat that ever was built could have got to her through those waves.
And she can't have left this place by land.
Look, alongside of the spit there's a shelf of rock, just running under the sand. If she slipped by accident from off the spit, she fell where there's a foothold at the bottom. At a depth of barely cover her to the waist. She must have waded or jumped into the deep so she wouldn't be missing now. Oh, no accident, sir. The deeps of the quicksand have got her. And they've got her by her own act.
I'll come along, my friend. Let's return to the house.
Don't touch me. It's the dread of you that's driven her to it.
You're wrong, Mr. Betteridge, but I'll be time enough to speak of it when we're indoors again. Come.
You are answerable for this, Sergeant. Gabriel, give that wretch his money and release me from the sight of him.
I'm no more answerable for this distressing calamity, my lady, than you are. If, in half an hour from this, you still insist on my leaving the house, I will accept your ladyship's dismissal, but not your ladyship's money.
Very well. I acknowledge that I might have spoken over hastily. Would you consent to accept your fee and leave the matter where it stands now?
No, my lady. My fee is paid for doing my duty. I decline to take it until my duty is done. When I came here, I undertook to throw the necessary light on the matter of the missing diamond. I'm now ready and waiting to redeem my pledge. Let your ladyship decide after that whether you do or do not allow me to go on. I shall then have done what I undertook to do, and I'll take my fee.
What is it you want to say to me?
I've heard a motive assigned for the young woman's suicide, which may possibly be the right one. My own opinion points the other way, however. Some unbearable anxiety in connection with the missing diamond has, I believe, driven the poor creature to her own destruction, and I think, with your ladyship's permission, that I can lay my hand on a person who is capable of deciding whether I am right or wrong.
Is the person now in the house?
The person has left the house, my lady.
Do you refer to my daughter?
I do.
After what you have just said, you know as well as I do that you have gone too far to go back. I owe it to myself and I owe it to my child to insist on your remaining here and to insist on your speaking out. You suspect Miss Verinder of deceiving us all by secreting the diamond for some purpose of her own. Is that true?
Quite true, my lady.
Very well. Now, I have to tell you, as Miss Verinder's mother, that she is absolutely incapable of doing what you suppose her to have done. I know my child.
Well said, my lady.
For the last 20 years, I've been largely employed in cases of family scandal. It is well within my experience that young ladies of rank and position do occasionally have private debts which they dare not acknowledge to their nearest relatives and friends. Miss Verinder has behaved most oddly since my arrival, and her every action has served to create suspicion on my part.
The circumstances have misled you.
Who would be the very person to help Miss Verinder in raising money privately on the diamond? Rosanna Spearman. No young lady in Miss Verinder's position could manage such a risky matter as that herself. A go-between she must have, and who so fit, I ask again, as Rosanna Spearman? She had relations, to my certain knowledge, with one of the very few men in London who would advance a large sum on such a notable jewel as the Moonstone without asking awkward questions or insisting on awkward conditions. Now, there is only one course of action among many that I feel your ladyship will accept as the way forward in this matter.
Which is?
I want to tell Miss Verinder, without a word of warning, of Rosanna's death, on the chance that her own better feelings will hurry her into making a clean breast of it. Does your ladyship accept?
I do. But I claim the right, as her mother, of putting her to the test for myself. You will remain here, if you please, and I will go to Frizinghall.
But, my lady, it's such a wet and windy night.
Order my pony chaise immediately, Gabriel, and my waterproofs.
Yes, my lady.
You may rely on two things, Sergeant. I will try the experiment on my daughter as boldly as you could try it yourself, and I will inform you of the result, either personally or by letter, before the last train leaves for London tonight.
As your ladyship wishes.
The pony chaise returned a good half hour before I'd ventured to expect it. My lady had decided to remain for the present at her sister's house. The groom brought 2 letters, one addressed to Mr. Franklin and the other to me. A cheque which dropped out when I opened it informed me that Sergeant Cuff's dismissal from the inquiry after the Moonstone was now a settled thing. I went to find the sergeant.
Ah, you've heard from her ladyship. Have I anything to do with it, Mr. Betteridge?
You shall judge for yourself, Sergeant.
My good Gabriel, I request that you will inform Sergeant Cuff that I have performed the promise I made to him, with this result, so far as Rosanna Spearman is concerned. Miss Verinder solemnly declares that she has never spoken a word in private to Rosanna. They never met even accidentally on the night when the diamond was lost, and no communication of any sort whatever took place between them from the Thursday morning when the alarm was first raised in the house to this present Saturday afternoon when Miss Verinder left us. After telling my daughter suddenly and in so many words of Rosanna Spearman's suicide, this is what has come of it. On 2 occasions before my daughter left my house, I privately warned her that she was exposing herself to suspicion of the most unendurable and most degrading kind. I have now told her that my apprehensions have been realized. Her answer to this is that she owes no money privately to any living creature, and the diamond is not now, and never has been, in her possession since she put it into her cabinet on Wednesday night. She maintains an obstinate silence when I ask her if she can explain the disappearance of the diamond, and she refuses with tears when I appeal to her to speak out for my sake.
Mamma, the day will come when you will know why I am careless about being suspected, and why I am silent even to you. I have done much to make my mother pity me. Nothing to make my mother blush for me.
Please, Gabriel, to read my letter to the sergeant, and then place in his hands the cheque which I enclose. In resigning all further claims on his services, I remain convinced of his honesty and his intelligence, but I am more firmly persuaded than ever that the circumstances in this case have fatally misled him.
What have you to say to that?
We shall have more detective business on our hands, sir, before the Moonstone is many months older.
I consider that an insult to my lady and her daughter.
Mr. Betteridge, consider it as a warning to yourself, and you will be nearer the mark. Now, I'll tell you at parting of 3 things which will happen in the future, and which I believe will force themselves on your attention whether you like it or not.
Go on.
First, you will hear something from the Yollands when Rosanna's letter is delivered to them on Monday next. Miss Rachel's assertion of her innocence leaves Rosanna's conduct entirely without explanation. Second, you will hear of the 3 Indians again. You will hear of them in the neighbourhood if Miss Rachel remains here in Yorkshire. You will hear of them in London if Miss Rachel goes to London. Third and last, you will sooner or later hear something of a moneylender in London. Give me your pocketbook, and I'll make a note for you of his name and address, so that there may be no mistake if the thing really happens. Mr. Septimus Luca, Middlesex Place, Lambeth, London. And those are the last words on the subject of the Moonstone which I shall trouble you with for the present. Time will show whether I'm right or wrong. In the meantime, sir, I'll carry away with me a sincere personal liking for you. If we don't meet again before my retirement takes place, I hope you will come and see me in a little house near London which I've got my eye on. There will be grass walks, Mr. Betteridge, I promise you, in my rose garden.
Oh, dear.
Betteridge?
Sir?
Is the pony chaise ready?
Have you really made up your mind, sir?
Yes.
Why not wait a day or two longer? Give Miss Rachel another chance.
Read this, from Lady Verinder.
You will wonder, I dare say, at my allowing my own daughter to keep me perfectly in the dark. A diamond worth £20,000 has been lost, and I am left to infer that the mystery of its disappearance is no mystery to Rachel, and that some incomprehensible obligation of silence has been laid on her. She is in a condition of nervous agitation pitiable to see, and my present idea is to take Rachel to London. My dear Franklin, the valuable assistance which you rendered to the inquiry after the lost jewel is still an unpardoned offence in the present dreadful state of Rachel's mind. She is not to be reasoned with. She can only be pitied. I am grieved to have to say it, but for the present, you and Rachel are better apart.
You know the proverb, sir. When things are at their worst, they're sure to mend.
When I came here from London with that horrible diamond, I don't believe there was a happier household in England than this. Look at it now, Betteridge. Scattered, disunited. The very air of the place is poisoned with mystery and suspicion. Do you remember that morning when we talked about my Uncle Herncastle and his birthday gift? The Moonstone has served the Colonel's vengeance by a means which the Colonel himself never dreamt of. And now, sir, I must go.
Tell us where you're going to, sir.
I'm going to the devil.
Oh. God bless you, sir. Go wherever you may.
In episode 2 of The Moonstone by Wilkie Collins, Lady Verinder was played by Eleanor Bron, Sergeant Cuff by Kenneth Cranham, Franklin Blake by Paul Rhys, Rachel Verinder by Jasmine Hyde, and Betteridge by Steve Hodson. Rosanna Spearman was played by Alison Pettit, Godfrey Ablewhite by Mark Straker, Mr. Mirthwaite by Paul Bhattacharjee, Penelope by Claire Corbett, Sergeant Joyce by Stephen Critchlow, and Mrs. Yolland by Carolyn Pickles. The Moonstone was recorded on location by Lucinda Mason-Brown, with original music by David Chilton. It was dramatised by Doug Lucie and produced by Janet Whittaker. The Moonstone was a Goldhawk Essential production for BBC Radio 4. The Moonstone by Wilkie Collins. Dramatised by Doug Lucie. Episode 3.
Yes?
Is Lady Verinder in residence?
She is.
Then would you kindly inform her that her niece, Miss Drusilla Clack, declines to disturb her ladyship and merely begs to know whether she can be of any use?
Please wait here.
I was accidentally passing Aunt Verinder's house in Montague Square, London, on July the 3rd, 1848, and seeing the shutters opened and the blinds drawn up, decided to make inquiries. The insolent girl who took my message and left me on the doorstep is the daughter of a heathen old man named Betteridge, tolerated in my aunt's family at their house in Yorkshire. While I waited, I took from my bag a Christian tract addressed to young women on the sinfulness of dress. Its title was "A Word with You on Your Cap Ribbons."
My lady is much obliged and begs she will come and lunch tomorrow at 2.
Thank you. Will you favour me by accepting a tract?
No, thank you, miss. Goodbye.
After the door was shut on me, I slipped the tract into the letterbox and proceeded to my destination, a meeting of the Select Committee of the Mothers Small Clothes Conversion Society. The object of this excellent charity is to rescue unredeemed fathers' trousers from the pawnbroker and to prevent their resumption on the part of the irreclaimable parent by abridging them immediately to suit the proportions of the innocent son. I mention the society here because my precious and admirable friend, Mr. Godfrey Ablewhite, was associated with our work of moral and material usefulness. Has Mr. Ablewhite been in recently to oversee the efforts of Our Ladies?
Oh, Miss Clack, have you not heard the news regarding Mr. Ablewhite?
What news?
Well, last Friday, Mr. Ablewhite was exiting a banking house in Lombard Street and happened to engage in a brief conversation with a stranger by the name of Septimus Luca as to whom should go out of the door first. They shared a few civil words, bowed and parted in the street. On returning to his lodgings, Mr. Ablewhite found a young boy with a letter waiting for him. The letter asked him to visit an old lady who shared his philanthropic ambitions.
Such incidents are not uncommon, I'm sure, in Mr. Godfrey's large experience as a promoter of public charity.
Oh, undoubtedly so. And he wasted no time in presenting himself at the address in the letter. Here, he was shown to an upstairs room containing an ancient Oriental manuscript open on the table. He was looking at the book with his back towards the door when he felt himself suddenly seized round the neck from behind. Yes, he had just time to notice the tawny brown colour of the arm around his neck before his eyes were bandaged and his mouth was gagged and he was thrown helpless on the floor by 2 men, while another rifled his pockets and searched him without ceremony.
Terrible!
The attackers then spoke to each other in a language which he did not understand and left.
Oh, Tom, man! Is he harmed?
No, and nothing was stolen either. The miserable wretches took only their Oriental manuscript with them. Next came news that exactly what had happened to Mr. Godfrey in Northumberland Street now happened to Mr. Luca in identical circumstances in Alfred Place. The only difference was that the strangers took away one of Mr. Luca's papers, which acknowledged receipt of a valuable of great price which he had that day left in the care of his bankers.
What does it all mean?
Nobody knows.
I presented myself next day for lunch at my aunt's, when I found her anxious over the state of her daughter Rachel's behaviour, which was unladylike and painful to see.
Mamma, do you think Godfrey might call today? I'm so full of anxiety and excitement on his behalf that I can barely contain myself until his arrival.
Remember what the doctor told you, Rachel, about quieting yourself with a book after taking your meals.
I'll go into the library, Mamma. But if Godfrey calls, mind I am told of it. I'm dying for more news of him after his adventure. Goodbye, Clack.
When we were left by ourselves, my aunt told me the whole horrible story of the Indian diamond.
People are now speculating that what happened to Godfrey and the other man is somehow connected to the loss of the diamond. Oh. And poor Rachel is most dangerously excited about it all.
Here surely is a case for a clergyman, if ever there was one yet.
Well, the doctors recommend plenty of exercise and amusement for her, and urge me to keep her mind as much as possible from dwelling on the past.
Oh, what heathen advice. Your knowledge of the world, dear aunt, is superior to mine, but there must surely be a reason for this extraordinary conduct on Rachel's part. She is keeping a sinful secret from you and from everybody. May there be something in these recent events which threatens her secret with discovery?
Discovery? What can you possibly mean?
Well,
come.
Begging your pardon, milady, but Mr. Godfrey Ablewhite is here.
Oh, show him in, my dear. Then tell Miss Verinder of his arrival.
Yes, milady. Sir.
My dear Godfrey, how are you? How is your health?
How is your health after your brush with danger?
What have I done to deserve all this sympathy? My dear aunt, my dear Miss Clack, I have merely been mistaken for somebody else. Yet I have become the property of the newspapers, thanks to Mr. Luca making our injuries public. And how is dear Rachel?
She is well, and keen to see you.
I am glad to hear it. And Miss Clack, I am sadly behindhand with my committee work, and my dear ladies, did you make cheering progress at Monday's committee? Was the board hopeful about future prospects? And are we nicely off for trousers?
Well, in truth, we are almost too nicely off for trousers, being quite overwhelmed.
I am charmed to see you, Godfrey. Tell me the whole of the Northumberland Street story directly. I know the newspapers will have left some of it out.
Dearest Rachel, the newspapers have told you everything, and they have told it much better than I can.
Godfrey thinks we all make too much of the matter. He doesn't care to speak of it.
Why?
Rachel, darling, true greatness and true courage are ever modest.
You are a very good fellow, in your way, Godfrey, but I'm quite sure you are not great. I believe you have some private reason for not talking of your adventure, and I mean to know it.
Dear Rachel, I am tired of the subject.
But have the police done anything?
Nothing whatever.
I suppose the 3 men who laid the trap for you were the same 3 who laid the trap for Mr. Luca?
No doubt.
And it is thought, is it not, that these 3 men are the 3 Indians who came to our house in the country? Do you think so too?
My dear Rachel, they blindfolded me before I could see their faces. I know nothing whatever of the matter. How can I offer an opinion on it?
Mr. Luca was robbed of a receipt, was he not? What was the receipt for?
For a valuable gem which he had placed in the safekeeping of the bank.
Did the receipt mention what the gem was?
No.
Well, some idle people are trying to trace a connection between what happened at our house in Yorkshire and what has happened since here in London. And the people who say that the 3 unknown men who ill-used you are the 3 Indians also say that the valuable gem...
Please, Rachel, say no more.
Tell me plainly, Godfrey. Do some people say that Mr. Luca's valuable gem is the Moonstone?
They do say it. But Mr. Luca has sworn over and over again that until this scandal assailed him, he had never even heard of the Moonstone. Yet these vile people decline to believe him on his oath. Shameful, shameful.
Considering that Mr. Luca is barely known to you, you take up his cause rather warmly.
I hope I take up the cause of all oppressed people rather warmly.
You have told me what scandal says of Mr. Luca. What does scandal say of you?
Don't ask me.
I will hear it.
Oh, tell her, Godfrey. Nothing can do her such harm as your silence is doing now.
If you will have it, Rachel. The scandal says that the Moonstone is in pledge to Mr. Luca, and that I am the man who has paid it.
Mamma! Hear what I say, Miss Clack. Hear what I say. I know the hand that took the Moonstone. I know. What? I know that Godfrey Ablewhite is innocent.
Rachel, dearest, you must not appear publicly in such a thing as this. Your reputation is something too pure, too sacred to be trifled with.
My reputation? I am afraid, Godfrey, I have not done you justice hitherto in my thoughts. You are more unselfish. You are a better man than I believed you to be. Come here when you can, and I will try and repair the wrong I have done you.
I will come, dearest, on condition that we don't speak of this hateful subject again.
Come.
Miss Rachel's friends are here to take her to the flower show, milady.
Mamma, before I go,
I have not distressed you, have I?
No, my dear. Go with our friends and enjoy yourself.
Take with you, cousin, my pity and compassion for your sad condition.
What do you mean by pitying me? Don't you see how happy I am? I'm going to the flower show, Clack, and I've got the prettiest bonnet in London.
Aunt, rest assured, any trifling inconvenience that I may suffer is as nothing compared with the importance of preserving that pure name from the contaminating contact of the world.
Oh, thank you, Godfrey. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm feeling a little tired.
Oh, of course. Till next time, then. And, Miss Clack, till our next committee meeting.
Goodbye.
Ladies.
Drusilla, pour me a glass of water, please.
Of course. What is that, Aunt?
Medicine, prescribed by my doctors.
Are you not well?
Will you wait here with me until Mr. Bruff, my lawyer, arrives, Drusilla? He will be here at 5 o'clock. You can be one of the witnesses when I sign my will.
Your will?
Come and sit, my dear. I have been seriously ill for some time past, without knowing it myself. I may live for some months, or I may die before another day has passed over my head. My one great anxiety is that Rachel should be kept in ignorance of the truth.
Yes.
She would blame herself, poor child, though the doctors assure me that the trouble began at least a year before all the trouble with the diamond. I'm sure you will keep my secret, Drusilla, for I'm sure I see sincere sorrow and sympathy for me in your face.
My dear aunt, I possess a library of works, all suitable to the present emergency, all calculated to convince, prepare, enlighten, and fortify you. You will read if I bring you my own precious books.
I will do what I can, Drusilla, to please you.
Not a moment to be lost. I will hurry home to collect the first series of readings, and will be back in time to sign the will. There's not a moment to lose. When no interests but my own are involved, I am humbly content to get from place to place by the omnibus. Permit me to give an idea of my devotion to my aunt's interests by recording that on this occasion I committed the prodigality of taking a cab. I drove home, selected and marked my first series of readings, and drove back to Montague Square with a dozen or so works in a carpet bag.
My lady is shut up in her room with the doctor. She asks that you wait in the library with Mr. Bruff.
Thank you.
This way.
Have you come to stay here, Miss Clack?
Pardon?
That's a heavy-looking carpet bag you have there.
My aunt has informed me that she is about to sign her will. She has been so good as to ask me to be one of the witnesses.
Aye, well, Miss Clack, you will do. You are over 21, and you have not the slightest pecuniary interest in Lady Verinder's will.
Not the slightest pecuniary interest in Lady Verinder's will. Oh, how thankful I felt when I heard that. If my aunt, possessed of thousands, had remembered poor me, to whom £5 is an object, if my name had appeared in the will with a little comforting legacy attached to it, my enemies might have doubted the motive which had loaded me down with the choicest treasures of my library, and had drawn upon my failing resources for the prodigal expense of a cab. Oh, surely, much better as it was.
Well, Miss Clack, what's the latest news in the charitable circles? How is your friend, Mr. Godfrey Ablewhite, after the mauling he got from the rogues in Northumberland Street? Gad, they're telling a pretty story about that charitable gentleman at my club.
I live very much out of the world, sir, and I don't possess the advantage, sir, of belonging to a club. I happen to know the story to which you allude, and I also know it a viler falsehood than that story never was told.
Yes, Miss Clack, you believe in your friend, natural enough. But Mr. Godfrey Ablewhite won't find the world in general quite so easy to convince as a committee of charitable ladies. Appearances are dead against him. He was in the house when the diamond was lost, and he was the first person in the house to go to London. These are ugly circumstances, ma'am, viewed by the light of later events.
And what do you mean by later events, Mr. Bron?
I mean the events in which the Indians are concerned. Whom did they seize and search? Not Mr. Luca only, but Mr. Godfrey Ablewhite as well. The Indians were so uncertain as to which of the two had the disposal of it that there was no alternative but to search them both.
I don't presume to argue with a clever lawyer like you, but is it quite fair, sir, to Mr. Ablewhite to pass over the opinion of a famous London policeman who investigated this case? Not the shadow of a suspicion rested upon anybody but Miss Verinder. In the mind of Sergeant Cuff.
Do you mean to tell me, Miss Clack, that you agree with the sergeant?
Oh, I judge nobody, sir. And I offer no opinion.
And I commit both those enormities, ma'am. I judge the sergeant to have been utterly wrong. If he had known Rachel's character as I know it, he would have suspected everybody in the house but her. I admit she has her faults. She is secret and self-willed, but true as steel and high-minded and generous to a fault. If all the evidence pointed one way and nothing but Rachel's word of honour pointed the other, I would take her word before the evidence, lawyer as I am. Strong language, Miss Clack, but I mean it.
She is so absolutely to be relied on as that.
So absolutely to be relied on as that.
Then permit me to inform you, Mr. Bruff, that Mr. Ablewhite was in this house not 2 hours since, and that his entire innocence of all concern in the disappearance of the Moonstone was proclaimed by Miss Verinder herself in the strongest language I have ever heard used by a young lady in my life.
If Rachel has testified to his innocence, I don't scruple to say that I believe in his innocence as firmly as you do. I have been misled by appearances, and I will make the best atonement I can by publicly contradicting the scandal which has assailed your friend wherever I meet with it.
I thank you, Mr. Bruff. But surely there is a conjecture to make which has not occurred to us yet.
Maybe, Miss Clack. I own I don't know what it is.
You mentioned as one of the reasons for suspecting Mr. Ablewhite the fact that he was in the house at the time when the diamond was lost. Permit me to remind you that Mr. Franklin Blake was also in the house at the time the diamond was lost.
You're not so good a lawyer, Miss Clack, as I supposed. You don't know when to let well alone.
I'm afraid I fail to follow you, Mr. Bruff.
You're quite right, ma'am. I have suspected Mr. Ablewhite on grounds which justify suspecting Mr. Blake too.
Ah.
Very good. Let's suspect them together. It's quite in his character, we will say, to be capable of stealing the Moonstone. The only question is whether it was in his interest to do so.
Mr. Franklin Blake's deaths are matters of family notoriety.
I manage Franklin Blake's affairs, and I beg to inform you that the vast majority of his creditors, knowing his father to be a rich man, are quite content to charge interest on their debts and to wait for their money. There is the first difficulty. Second, I have it on the authority of Lady Verinder herself that her daughter was ready to marry Franklin Blake before that infernal Indian diamond disappeared from the house. So there he was, Miss Clack, with his creditors content to wait, and with the certain prospect before him of marrying an heiress. By all means consider him a scoundrel, but tell me, if you please, why he would steal the Moonstone.
The human heart is unsearchable. Who is to fathom it?
But why then, supposing he did take the diamond, should Franklin Blake make himself the most prominent person in the house in trying to recover it?
Why, to divert suspicion from himself.
He had no need to divert suspicion, because nobody suspected him. No, Miss Clack. After what has passed here today between us two, the deadlock in this case is complete. Rachel's own innocence is beyond a doubt. Mr. Ablewhite's innocence is equally certain, or Rachel would never have testified to it. And Franklin Blake's innocence, as you have just seen, unanswerably asserts itself. We are equally sure that somebody has brought the Moonstone to London and that Mr. Looker or his banker is in private possession of it at this moment. It baffles me. It baffles you. It baffles everybody.
My lady's finished with the doctor, if you'd care to come this way.
Oh, thank you, my dear. Miss Clack, shall we?
The signing of the will was a much shorter matter than I had anticipated. In less than 2 minutes it was all over. Mr. Brough folded up the will and then looked my way, apparently wondering whether I did or did not mean to leave him alone with my aunt. I had a mission of mercy to fulfil, and my bag of precious publications ready on my lap. He uttered a profane expression and withdrew in a violent hurry, and left me mistress of the field.
I hope you won't think yourself neglected, Drusilla. I mean to give you your little legacy, my dear, with my own hand.
Give your attention to this book, dear aunt, and you will give me all I ask. This book, The Serpent at Home, shows how the evil one lies in wait for us in all the most apparently innocent actions of our daily lives. The chapters best adapted to female perusal are Satan in the hairbrush, Satan under the tea table, Satan out of the window, well, and many others. Here's a passage I've marked: Satan among the sofa cushions.
I'm afraid, Drusilla, I must wait till I'm a little better before I can read that. The doctor tells me that I am not so well today. He forbids me to see any strangers, and he orders me, if I read at all, only to read the lightest and the most amusing books.
You might feel stronger, dear, in an hour or two, or you might wake tomorrow morning with a sense of something wanting, and this volume might be able to supply it. Oh, you will let me leave the book, Aunt. The doctor can hardly object to that. And now let me leave you to repose, dear Aunt. I will call again tomorrow.
Yes. I'm feeling very tired.
On rising the next morning, the maid at my lodgings announced Lady Verinder's servant to see me. It was the footman, with a parcel under his arm.
My lady's love, miss, and I'm to say that you will find a letter inside this parcel.
Is this my promised legacy? What will it be? Cast-off clothes, worn-out silver spoons, unfashionable jewellery. My books. Every last precious one.
Dear Drusilla, I have been forced, on doctor's orders, to return these to you, and I dare not disobey my physician.
Once self-supported by conscience, once embarked on a career of manifest usefulness, the true Christian never yields. Neither public nor private influences produce the slightest effect on us when we have once got our mission. Glorious, glorious privilege. And how is it earned? We are the only people who can earn it, for we are the only people who are always right.
Oh, good day, miss.
Good day. Is my aunt at home?
I'm afraid her ladyship's had a bad night and is resting, trying to get a little sleep.
Then I shall wait in the library on the chance of seeing her.
I don't...
I have urgent business with my aunt.
Then you'd best come in.
The house was quiet. I suppose Rachel to be at her concert with her party of pleasure-seekers, Mr. Godfrey, alas, included. So I eagerly devoted myself to my good works, distributing notes about the silent house. I ran lightly upstairs to scatter my mercies next all over the drawing-room floor. But as I entered, I heard a double knock at the street door, and the footman rushing to open it.
Upstairs, if you please, sir.
Assuming the visitor to be my aunt's doctor, my own self-respect stood in the way of meeting the person who had insulted me by sending me back my books. I slipped into the bay window and pulled the curtains closed to hide myself. I made a mistake? Was it not the doctor, but somebody else? I parted the heavy curtains, the least little morsel in the world, and listened.
I'll do it today.
Mr. Godfrey Ablewhite.
Why have you come up here, Godfrey? Why didn't you go into the library?
Miss Clack is in the library.
Clack in the library? You're quite right. We had much better stop here. Well, what did you say to them?
That your mamma is not at all well today, and that you didn't like leaving her to go to the concert. All expressed a cheering belief that Lady Verinder's disposition would soon pass away.
You don't think it's serious, do you, Godfrey?
Far from it.
I was a little frightened at first, but I think so too. But why have you not gone to the concert?
Don't say that, Rachel. If only you knew how much happier I am here with you.
Do try to get over the habit of paying compliments, Godfrey. Do, to please me.
Successful love may sometimes use the language of flattery, I admit. But hopeless love, dearest, always speaks the truth.
Have you forgotten what we agreed on, Godfrey, when you spoke to me in the country? We agreed that we were to be cousins and nothing more.
I break the agreement every time I see you.
Then don't see me.
It's quite useless. Oh, Rachel, how kindly you told me only the other day that my place in your estimation was a higher place than it had ever been yet. Well, am I mad to build the hopes I do on those dear words? Don't tell me so if I am. Leave me my delusion, dearest. I must have that to cherish and to comfort me if I have nothing else.
Are you really sure, Godfrey, that you are so fond of me as that?
Sure. You know what I was, Rachel. Let me tell you what I am. I have lost every interest in my life but my interest in you. My charitable business is an unendurable nuisance to me. And when I see a ladies' committee now, I wish myself at the uttermost ends of the earth.
You have made your confession. I wonder whether it would cure you of your unhappy attachment to me if I made mine. Would you think, to look at me, that I am the wretchedest girl living? It's true. What greater wretchedness can there be? To live degraded in your own estimation. That is my life now.
How can you have any reason to speak of yourself in that way?
How can you know that I do not?
I know it because I know you. The disappearance of your precious birthday gift may seem strange. Your unexplained connection with that event may seem stranger still.
Are you speaking of the Moonstone?
I certainly thought that's what you referred to.
I referred to nothing of the sort. If the story of the diamond ever comes to light, it will be known that I accepted a dreadful responsibility. But it will be clear that I did nothing mean. Oh, you have misunderstood me, Godfrey. It's my fault for not speaking more plainly. I will be plainer now. Suppose you were not in love with me. Suppose you were in love with some other woman.
Yes.
Suppose you discovered that woman to be utterly unworthy of you. Suppose you were quite convinced that it was a disgrace to you to waste another thought on her. And suppose, in spite of all that, you still couldn't tear her from your heart. And that's the breath of my life, Godfrey. And it's the poison that kills me both in one. He doesn't know. He never will. Don't ask me his name. I have dropped to my right place in your estimation, haven't I?
Oh, noble creature. You have spoken, dearest, of your place in my estimation. Judge what that place is when I implore you on my knees to let the cure of your poor wounded heart be my care, Rachel. Will you honour me? Will you bless me by being my wife?
Godfrey, you must be mad.
Is your happiness to be sacrificed to a man who has never known how you feel towards him, and whom you are resolved never to see again? No, a heart that loves and honours you, a home whose peaceful claims win gently on you day by day. Try the consolation, Rachel, which is to be found there. I don't ask for your love. I will be content with your affection and regard. Let the rest be left to time that heals even wounds as deep as yours.
Don't tempt me, Godfrey. I am wretched enough and reckless enough as it is.
At your age and with your attractions, is it possible for you to sentence yourself to a single life? Nothing is less possible. You may marry some other man some years hence, or you may marry the man who is now at your feet and who prizes your respect and admiration above the love of any other woman on the face of the earth.
Gently, Godfrey. Oh, I tell you, I am miserable enough and desperate enough, if you say another word, to marry you on your own terms. Take the warning and go.
I won't even rise from my knees till you have said yes.
You won't hurry me, Godfrey.
My time shall be yours.
You won't ask me for more than I can give.
Oh, my angel, I only ask you to give me yourself.
Take me.
Shall I speak to your dear mother, or will you?
Let my mother hear nothing until she's better. I wish it to be kept a secret for the present. Go now, and come back this evening. We have been alone together quite long enough. Who's drawn those curtains? The room is close enough as it is, without keeping the air out of it in that way.
She advanced to the curtains. At the moment when the discovery of me appeared quite inevitable, the door to the room was flung open.
Miss Rachel, please to come downstairs, miss. My lady has fainted and we can't bring her to again.
I was alone, and free to go downstairs in my turn, quite unobserved. Mr. Godfrey passed me in the hall, hurrying out to fetch the doctor.
Go in and help them.
I found Rachel on her knees by the sofa, with her mother's head on her bosom. One look at my aunt's face, knowing what I knew, was enough to warn me of the dreadful truth. Lady Verinder was no more. At a later hour, I peeped into the breakfast room in the library. My aunt had died without opening a single one of the letters which I had addressed to her. I was so shocked at this. But it never occurred to me until some days afterwards that she'd also died without giving me my little legacy.
The funeral of Lady Verinder was a dignified and sad affair. That she had been much loved and respected was reflected in the genuine outpourings of grief from many of those present. On Lady Verinder's death, her will was placed in the hands of my proctor, to be proved, as the phrase is, in the usual way. In about 3 weeks from that time, I happened to be looking in at my friend the proctor's office, and I observed that he received me with an appearance of greater interest than usual.
Ah, Mr. Bruff, I have some news for you. What do you think I heard at Doctors' Commons this morning? Lady Verinder's will has been asked for and examined already.
News indeed. There's absolutely nothing which could be contested in the will, and there's nobody I can think of who would have the slightest interest in examining it. Who asked for the will?
Mr. Smalley, of the firm of Skip and Smalley. He looked it over carefully and made a note in his pocket-book.
Smalley, eh? I know him well.
As do I. So I took the liberty of asking him why he found it necessary to examine Lady Verinder's will. He informed me he was acting under instructions from a client, and added that it would be a breach of professional confidence to say any more.
Sadly, that much is true.
So I took the unwarrantable advantage of my position and said, choose, sir, between the risk of losing your client's business and the risk of losing that of Mr. Matthew Bruff's chambers, which, as you know, is of no little consequence to Messrs. Skip and Smalley.
Quite indefensible.
Oh, I quite agree. Without a moment's hesitation, he gave up the name of his client, Mr. Godfrey Ablewhite.
So, you know of my surprise and distress at the news of Miss Verinder's proposed marriage.
I do.
I was grieved when I heard she was about to throw herself away on Mr. Godfrey Ablewhite. Now here he is, a man I have always believed to be a smooth-tongued impostor, justifying the very worst that I have thought of him, and plainly revealing the mercenary object of the marriage on his side.
And he will now know that neither Miss Rachel nor her husband can raise sixpence on her properties.
Exactly. They would have the houses in London and in Yorkshire to live in, and they would have a handsome income, and that is all. I wonder, will Mr. Godfrey Ablewhite hold to his engagement after what his lawyer has discovered for him?
Depends. Does he stand in urgent need of realizing a large sum of money by a given time?
I don't know, but it would not in the least surprise me. Not in the least.
I am glad to see you, Drusilla. I have been in the habit of speaking very foolishly and very rudely to you on former occasions. I beg your pardon, and I hope you will forgive me.
With all my heart, Rachel, dear.
You know that my uncle, Mr. Ablewhite Senior, has been appointed my guardian.
I do.
And he has consented to the hiring of a house in Brighton, in which I may reside for the present. Now, there is a question of hiring of servants to be dealt with.
Would you like me to undertake to meet that difficulty, dear?
Oh, Drusilla, would you?
Gladly. Has the house been found yet?
Yes, Godfrey has taken it. But he has settled nothing regarding the servants.
I will go to Brighton tomorrow.
Oh, how extremely kind of you. We will join you as soon as you're ready for us. And you will stay, I hope, as my guest?
Oh.
Brighton is so lively. You are sure to enjoy it.
It was then the middle of the week. By Saturday afternoon, the house was ready for them. Between 6 and 7, the travellers arrived. To my indescribable surprise, they were escorted not by Mr. Godfrey, but by the lawyer, Mr. Bruff.
How do you do, Miss Clack? I mean to stay this time.
I thought Mr. Godfrey was coming.
Here, the third in the party, Aunt Ablewhite, Mr. Godfrey's mother, spoke up.
Godfrey was very much vexed, Drusilla, not to be able to come with us. There was something in the way which kept him in town. Mr. Bruff volunteered to take his place and make a holiday of it till Monday morning.
Rachel stood silent at a window by herself, with her eyes fixed on the sea.
Tired, love?
No, only a little out of spirits. I have often seen the sea on our Yorkshire coast with that light on it. And I was thinking, Drusilla, of the days that can never come again.
Oh.
The next morning, Rachel and I went alone together to church. On our return, we found Aunt Ablewhite and Mr. Bruff at luncheon.
Will you eat something, Rachel?
No, thank you, Aunt. I have a headache.
Ah, there is only one remedy for a headache. A walk, Miss Rachel, is the thing to cure you. I am entirely at your service, if you will honour me by accepting my arm.
With the greatest pleasure. A walk is the very thing I was longing for.
May I speak to you about your marriage engagement?
Yes, if you have nothing more interesting to talk about.
May I venture to ask whether your heart is set on this marriage?
I am marrying in despair, Mr. Bruff, on the chance of dropping into some sort of stagnant happiness which may reconcile me to my life.
Mr. Godfrey Ablewhite can hardly be of your way of thinking. His heart must be set on the marriage at any rate.
He says so, and I suppose I ought to believe him.
It sounds strangely to hear you speak of your future husband as if you were not quite sure of the sincerity of his attachment. Are you conscious of any reason for doubting him?
Mr. Bruff, you have something to tell me about Godfrey. Tell it.
Very well. Mr. Godfrey Ablewhite has had his lawyers secretly go over your late mother's will.
To what end?
Why, to ascertain the financial settlements contained within. There could be no other reason.
So, I owe much already to your kindness, and I feel more deeply indebted to it now than ever. If you hear any rumours of my marriage when you get back to London, contradict them at once, on my authority.
Have you resolved to break your engagement?
Can you doubt it, after what you've told me?
Then I recommend that you tell Mr. Godfrey that he has, to your certain knowledge, betrayed the mercenary nature of the motive on his side. And if he should attempt to deny the facts, then please refer him to me.
Thank you for your kind advice, but it is impossible for me to follow it.
May I ask why?
I have believed in that man. I have promised to marry him. How can I disgrace him in the eyes of the world after that? The shame of it would be nothing to him, but the shame of it would be unendurable to me. I shall say that I have thought it over, and that I am satisfied it will be best for both of us if we part.
No more than that.
No more.
Have you thought of what he may say on his side?
He may say what he pleases. My mind is made up.
When they returned from their walk, I had never seen Rachel so silent and so thoughtful. And I have never seen Mr. Brough pay her such devoted attention. He had an engagement for dinner that day and took an early leave of us all. Rachel then retired to her room for the rest of the evening. When her cup of tea went up to her the next morning, I followed it in. Do you know, love, I had an odd fancy yesterday about Mr. Brough. I thought when I saw you after your walk with him that he'd been telling you some bad news.
Oh, quite the contrary. It was news I was interested in hearing, and I'm deeply indebted to Mr. Brough for telling me of it.
I suppose, my dear Rachel, that must be news of Mr. Godfrey Ablewhite?
I shall never marry Mr. Godfrey Ablewhite.
What can you possibly mean? The marriage is considered by the whole family as a settled thing.
Mr. Godfrey Ablewhite is expected here today. Wait till he comes and you will see.
But my dear Rachel...
Penelope?
Rachel!
Penelope, my bath.
My dear girl! Oh, Rachel! After breakfast, I went for a walk. On my return, I entered the dining room, always empty at that time of day, and found myself face to face with Mr. Godfrey Ablewhite.
Oh, yeah, my dear Miss Clack, I have been only waiting to see you.
Oh.
Chance set me free of my London engagements today sooner than I had expected, and I have got here, in consequence, earlier than my appointed time.
Have you seen Rachel yet?
I have seen Rachel. You are aware, dear friend, that she was engaged to me? Well, she has taken a sudden resolution to break the engagement. Reflection has convinced her that she will best consult her welfare and mine by retracting a rash promise and leaving me free to make some happier choice elsewhere.
Well, what have you done on your side? Have you submitted?
Yes, I have submitted.
Oh.
I have lost a beautiful girl, an excellent social position and a handsome income, and I have submitted to it without a struggle. What can be the motive for such extraordinary conduct as that, huh? My precious friend, there is no motive.
No motive?
I don't know why I made a proposal of marriage to Miss Verinder. What do I want with Miss Verinder? She's told me with her own lips that she loves another man, and that her only idea in marrying me is to try to put that other man out of her head. Oh, what a horrid union is this! I approached Rachel with the feeling of a criminal who is going to receive his sentence. When I found that she has changed her mind too, I experienced a most overpowering sense of relief. I feel like a lost man emerging from the darkness into the light.
And I can assure you of a loving reception at the Mother's Small Clothes, Mr. Godfrey. You will be received as a Christian hero.
Sorry, Miss, to lay the table for lunch.
Lunch already. How the time flies with you, Miss Clack. I shall barely catch the train.
Why such a hurry?
There are family difficulties which need to be reconciled. My father is coming here either this evening or tomorrow. I must tell him what has happened between Rachel and me. Best and dearest of friends, we shall meet again.
Mr. Ablewhite Sr. arrived the next morning, followed some minutes later, to my astonishment, by an unexpected complication in the shape of Mr. Bruff.
Mr. Bruff, this is a pleasant surprise, sir.
Thank you, madam.
When I left your office yesterday, I didn't expect to have the honour of seeing you at Brighton today.
It occurred to me that I might be of some use on this occasion and was just in time to catch the train.
Rachel, my dear, I have heard some extraordinary news from Godfrey. May we discuss the matter in private together?
Whatever you wish to say to me can be said here.
Very well. Some weeks ago, you did my son the honour to engage yourself to marry him. Is it possible that he can have misinterpreted what you really said to him?
Certainly not. I did engage myself to marry him.
Oh, I begin to see it now. You and he have had a lover's quarrel, and my foolish son has interpreted it seriously.
Nothing in the least like a quarrel took place. If he told you that I proposed breaking off our engagement, and that he agreed on his side, he told you the truth.
I am to understand, then, that your engagement is indeed broken off?
Yes, sir, if you please.
I am also to take it that the proposal to withdraw from the engagement came in the first instance from you?
That is correct.
Then I beg to ask, Miss Verinder, what complaints you have to make of my son?
You're not bound to answer that question.
Oh, don't forget, sir, that you're a self-invited guest here. Your interference would have come with a better grace if you'd waited until it was asked for.
Thank you, Mr. Bruff, for your advice.
What has my son done? I have a right to know that.
You have had the only explanation which I think it necessary to give to you or to him. I have no more to say.
Well, I have something more to say on my side. I have to say that if my son doesn't feel this insult, I do.
Husband, control yourself.
Insult? What do you mean?
Insult? I know your motive, Miss Verinder, for breaking your promise to my son. I wasn't good enough for the Herncastles when I married, and now it comes to the pinch. My son isn't good enough for you. You've got the Herncastle blood in you, my young lady. I suspected it all along.
A very unworthy suspicion. I'm astonished that you have the courage to acknowledge it.
How dare you!
Surely this is beneath notice. If he can think in that way, let us leave him to think as he pleases.
Rachel, this is not what he truly thinks.
Yes, Mr. Ablewhite, one word. As an affectionate well-wisher, as a friend, and as one long accustomed to arouse, convince, prepare, enlighten, and fortify others, permit me to take the most pardonable of all liberties, the liberty of composing your mind. Now...
Who asked this impudent fanatic into the house?
Miss Clack is here as my guest.
Oh, Miss Clack is here as your guest, in my house.
You appear to forget that you took this house as Miss Verinder's guardian for Miss Verinder's use.
Not quite so fast. I have a last word to say, which I should have said some time since, if this rampant spinster, Clack, had not interrupted us. I beg to inform you, sir, that if my son is not good enough to be Miss Verinder's husband, I cannot presume to consider his father good enough to be Miss Verinder's guardian. In your legal phrase with regard to Lady Verinder's will, I decline to act. This house has been hired in my name. It is my house. I can keep it or let it just as I please. I've no wish to hurry Miss Verinder. On the contrary, I beg her to remove her guest and her luggage at her own entire convenience.
Rachel, my dear, give me your hand. I should be ashamed of my husband if I didn't know that it is his temper which has spoken to you and not himself.
If I may be permitted to answer for Miss Verinder, might I ask you, Mrs. Ablewhite, leave us 10 minutes together, and you may rely on my setting matters right to your satisfaction, as well as to Rachel's.
Very good, Mr. Bruff. I thank you.
The Herncastle blood has its drawbacks, I admit, but there is something in good breeding after all. My dear young lady, Mr. Ablewhite's conduct has naturally shocked you and taken you by surprise. Will you honour Mrs. Bruff and me by becoming our guest? And will you remain under my roof and be one of my family until we wise people have laid our heads together and have settled what is to be done next?
Mr. Bruff!
Please to resume your seat or leave the room, miss. Well, Rachel, my dear.
Mr. Bruff, your kindness towards me is warmly received, as is your offer.
Stop! I must be heard. Mr. Bruff, you are not related to her, and I am. I invite her, and I summon the executors to appoint me guardian. Rachel, dearest Rachel, I offer you my modest home. Come to London by the next train, love, and share it with me.
You are very kind, Drusilla. I shall hope to visit you whenever I happen to be in London. But I have accepted Mr. Bruff's invitation, and I think it will be best, for the present, if I remain under Mr. Bruff's care.
Don't say so. I can't part with you. Rachel, I can't part with you.
Surely this is a very unnecessary display of agitation. I don't understand it.
No more do I.
Rachel, haven't you seen yet that my heart yearns to make a Christian of you? Has no inner voice told you that I am trying to do for you what I was trying to do for your dear mother when death snatched her out of my hands?
I don't understand your reference to my mother, Miss Clack. Will you have the goodness to explain yourself?
You had better not pursue the subject, my dear, and Miss Clack had better not explain herself.
Do you understand the repercussions which follow from the awful calamity of dying unprepared? Do you know nothing of the flames of hell, of the eternal torment that awaits even the kindliest soul who dies unprepared to face her Maker?
Come away, Mr. Bruff. Come away for God's sake before that woman can say any more. Oh, think of my poor mother's harmless, useful, beautiful life. And that wretch stands there and tries to make me doubt that my mother, who was an angel on earth, is an angel in heaven now. Come away. It stifles me to breathe the same air with her. It frightens me to feel that we are in the same room together.
I am shocked and grieved, but needless to say, not offended. May your hard heart be softened. I freely forgive you.
Come away, Mr. Bruff.
You had better not have explained yourself, Miss Clack.
I was left alone in the room. Reviled by them all, deserted by them all. Is there more to be added to this plain statement of facts, to this touching picture of a Christian persecuted by the world? No. From that day forth, I never saw Rachel Verinder again. She had my forgiveness at the time when she insulted me. She has had my prayerful good wishes ever since. And when I die, to complete the return on my part of good for evil, she will have my library of precious tracts left her as a legacy by my will.
After the falling out with Mr. Ablewhite Sr., Miss Verinder found the quiet and repose which she sadly needed, poor thing, in my house at Hampstead. About a week after Miss Verinder had left us, I was visited at my office by a strange Indian gentleman, whose card informed me that he had been recommended to me by Mr. Septimus Looker. He first took out a jewelled casket wrapped in cloth of gold and placed it on my desk.
I have come, sir, to ask you to lend me some money, and I leave this as an assurance to you that my debt will be paid back.
Well, Mr. Looker is quite mistaken in sending you here. I never lend to strangers, and I never lend on such a security as you have produced. I'm sorry.
Supposing, sir, it had been possible for you to lend me the money, in what space of time would it have been customary for me to pay it back?
You would have been entitled to pay the money back in 1 year's time from the date at which it was first advanced to you.
Thank you for your time, sir.
It was clear to me he had a special purpose in asking me this last question. The casket and the application for the loan were mere formalities designed to pave the way for the parting inquiry. What did it mean? I had a dinner engagement that evening, and the prominent personage among the guests I found to be Mr. Murthwaite. If I'm not mistaken, Mr. Murthwaite, you were acquainted with the late Lady Verinder, and you took some interest in the strange succession of events which ended in the loss of the Moonstone.
I was, Mr. Brough. Tell me, have you heard anything lately of the Indians?
One of them had an interview with me in my office. On the pretext of asking for a loan he knew I would not give. He was anxious to know the time at which a borrower of money is usually privileged to pay the money back. I've not the slightest idea why.
When do we suppose, at a rough guess, that the diamond found its way into the moneylender's hands?
Towards the end of last June.
And we are now in the year 48. Very good. If the unknown person who has pledged the Moonstone can redeem it in a year, the jewel will be in that person's possession again at the end of June 49. I shall be thousands of miles away from England and English news at that date, but it may be worth your while to take a note of it and to arrange to be in London at the time.
You think something serious will happen?
I think I shall be safer among the fiercest fanatics of Central Asia than I should be if I crossed the door of the bank with the Moonstone in my pocket. The Indians have been defeated twice running, Mr. Brough. It's my firm belief that they won't be defeated a third time.
In episode 3 of The Moonstone by Wilkie Collins, Miss Clack was played by Marsha Warren, Mr. Brough by Bill Patterson, Lady Verinder by Eleanor Bron, Rachel Verinder by Jasmine Hyde, and Godfrey Ablewhite by Mark Straker. Mr. Ablewhite Sr. was played by Geoffrey Whitehead, Mr. Murthwaite by Paul Bhattacharjee, Penelope by Claire Corbett, The Indian by Narinder Samra, and Aunt Ablewhite by Carolyn Pickles. The Moonstone was recorded on location by Lucinda Mason-Brown, with original music by David Chilton. It was dramatised by Doug Lucie and produced by Janet Whittaker. The Moonstone was a Goldhawk Essential production for BBC Radio 4. The Moonstone by Wilkie Collins, dramatised by Doug Lucie. Episode 4.
In the spring of the year 1849, I was back to my old ways, wandering Franklin Blake again. I was travelling in the East when one day I received a letter with the news that my father had died, and that I had now inherited his great fortune. His solicitor, Mr. Brough, entreated me to lose no time in returning to England, and by daybreak the next morning I was on my way back to my own country.
Just one final signature here, Mr. Blake, and that's the business side of things satisfactorily wound up.
There.
Perfect.
Mr. Brough, what news of Miss Verinder?
Have you not spoken to her since your return?
Well, she refuses to see me, and ignores my letters. Well, on leaving England, she was the last person in the world whose name I would have suffered to pass my lips. On returning to England, she was the first person I inquired after.
I take it you heard about the short-lived engagement to Mr. Godfrey Ablewhite.
Oh, yes. But I've yet to hear a satisfactory account of their motives for recalling the marriage promise. Are you at liberty to enlighten me?
Alas, no. Their motives are kept private between themselves.
Then I shall ask you no more questions on the subject. However, I will tell you my immediate plans. I'm going to Yorkshire by the next train.
May I ask for what purpose?
Mr. Brough, the assistance I innocently rendered to the inquiry after the diamond was an unpardonable offence in Rachel's mind, and it remains so nearly a year since. Well, I won't accept that position. I am determined to find out the secret of her silence towards her mother and her enmity towards me. If time, pains, and money can do it, I will lay my hand on the thief who took the Moonstone. There are missing links in the evidence as I left it, which Gabriel Betteridge can supply. So, to Yorkshire I go. Betteridge?
Oh, Mr. Franklin! Goodness! Now what brings you here?
Well, I've come to see you, my dear fellow.
Walk in, Mr. Franklin. I'll ask what you want with me later. I must make you comfortable first.
No, it vexes me to disappoint you, but the house is Miss Verinder's house now. Could I eat in it or sleep in it after what happened? The commonest sense of self-respect forbids me to cross the threshold.
I am heartily sorry for this. I'd hoped to hear that things were all smooth and pleasant again between you and Miss Rachel. Nevertheless, I'm burning to know what's brought you here in this sudden way.
What brought me here before?
The Moonstone, Mr. Franklin. But what brings you now, sir?
The Moonstone again, Betteridge. I've come back to do what nobody has done yet. To find out who took the diamond.
How can you hope to succeed when Sergeant Cuff himself made a mess of it? Sergeant Cuff, the greatest policeman in England.
My mind is made up, my old friend. By the by, I may want to speak to him sooner or later.
Oh, Sergeant won't help you, sir.
Why not?
The great Cuff has retired from business. He's got a little cottage in Dorking, and he's up to his eyes in the growing of roses.
Well, then I must do without Sergeant Cuff's help.
Do you remember that poor girl of ours, Rosanna Spearman?
Well, of course.
You always saw she had some sort of confession which she wanted to make to you.
I certainly couldn't account for her strange conduct in any other way.
Well, you may set that doubt at rest, Mr. Franklin, whenever you please. Rosanna Spearman left a sealed letter behind her. A letter addressed to you.
Well, where is it?
In the possession of a friend of hers, limping Lucie, a lame girl with a crutch.
Well, the fisherman's daughter.
Aye, the same. Limping Lucie has a will of her own, sir. She wouldn't give it into any hands but yours.
Well, let's go, Betteridge. We must get it at once.
As you wish, sir. I'll have the groom prepare a carriage.
Excellent.
Give a knock, sir.
Yes.
Lucie. This is Mr. Franklin Blake.
Mr. Betteridge. Mention his name again, if you please.
This gentleman's name is Mr. Franklin Blake.
Wait here.
I'll give you two some privacy. You mind your tongue, though, girl.
Thank you, Betteridge. Is that the letter you have to give to me?
I want to look at you. No, I can't find out what she saw in your face. I can't guess what she heard in your voice. My poor dear. What could you see in this man? Can you sleep?
Yes.
When you see a poor girl in service, do you feel no remorse?
Certainly not. Why should I?
Here. The letter. Take it. I never set eyes on you before. God Almighty forbid I should ever set eyes on you again.
Well, sir?
I can only suppose she is mad.
Walk on. What does it say? For mercy's sake, sir, tell us, what does the letter say?
Wait. There's a note attached to it. Sir, If you are curious to know the meaning of my behaviour to you whilst you were staying in the house of my mistress, do what you were told to do in the memorandum enclosed with this, and do it without any person being present to overlook you. Your humble servant, Rosanna Spearman.
What does the memorandum say?
To go to the shivering sand at the turn of the tide. To walk out on the South Spit until you get the beacon and the flagstaff at the Coast Guard station in line together. To lay down on the rocks, a stick to guide your hand exactly in the line of the beacon and the flagstaff. To feel along the stick, among the seaweed, for a chain. To run your hand along the chain until you come to the part of it which stretches over the edge of the rocks down into the quicksand. And then to pull up the chain.
Sergeant Guff said it. From first to last, sir, the sergeant said she'd got a memorandum of the hiding place. And here it is.
When's the turn of the tide?
An hour's time.
Then come along, Betteridge.
To the quicksand?
To the quicksand. And perhaps the solving of this cursed mystery.
Trot on! Trot on!
So, the stick is in line with the beacon and the flagstaff?
Sir, remember what the letter said. You are charged when you make your discovery to make it alone. Besides, there's nothing in the letter against you letting out the secret afterwards.
No, you're quite right. Oh, this is such a desolate place, Betteridge.
Aye.
Imagine to meet one's end in this vile quicksand. Now, the mere thought of it shrivels my soul.
I, for one, will never feel happy here. Ever again. I hate the place as I hate the devil. I'll wait on the beach, sir.
I felt along the line traced with the stick and felt the edge of the rocks. An inch or two further on, in a narrow fissure, I felt the chain. In this position, with my face within a few feet of the surface of the quicksand, shivering with a hideous menace and the threat of death, I looked away from it and breathed in deeply. Then, taking a firm hold of the seaweed with my left hand, I laid myself down over the brink and felt with my right hand under the overhanging rocks. I drew the chain up. To my amazement, there was a japanned tin case fastened to the end of it. I held it up for Betteridge to see and struggled along the slippery rocks to the safety of the beach, and there prized off the lid. What the devil is this?
What's in it, Mr. Franklin?
It's a nightgown. And look here. The smear of paint from the door of Rachel's room.
It is the sergeant said, sir. Find out who the garment with a stain on it belonged to. Find out how the person can account for having been in the room, and you haven't far to look for the hand that took the diamond.
Perhaps Rosanna's letter tells us the name of the owner.
Well, there's a shorter way to discover than that. The nightgown must have been marked with the owner's name.
Oh, of course. Of course.
Whose name is it, sir?
See for yourself.
But it can't be. That's your name. Franklin Blake.
I have penetrated the secret which the quicksand has kept from every other living creature. And on the unanswerable evidence of the paint stain, I have discovered myself as the thief. We drove back to the house and went into Betteridge's little sitting room. My resolution not to enter Rachel's house was now completely forgotten.
Now, Mr. Franklin, there's one thing certain at any rate. This nightgown is a liar.
I am as innocent of all knowledge of having taken the diamond as you are. But there is the witness against me. The paint on the nightgown and the name on it are facts.
Take a drop of grog, Mr. Franklin, and you'll get over the weakness of believing in facts. Foul play, sir. That's how I read the riddle. What of that letter that was with the garment?
I shall be dead and gone, sir, when you find my letter. Do you remember when you came out from among the sandhills that morning, looking for Mr. Betteridge? You were the most adorable human creature I'd ever seen. If you had known how I used to cry with the misery of your never noticing me, perhaps you would have given me a look now and then to live on. My work, sir, was to make your bed and to put your room tidy. It was the happiest hour I had in the whole day. There was your nightgown on the bed. I took it up to fold it and saw the stain of the paint from Miss Rachel's door. Here was the proof that you were in Miss Rachel's sitting room between 12 and 3 the previous night.
Read the rest for yourself, Betteridge. If there is anything in it that I must look at, you can tell me as you go on.
I understand you, Mr. Franklin.
Having determined to keep the nightgown, the next thing was to discover how to keep it without the risk of being found out. There was only one way. To make another exactly like it, before Saturday came and brought the laundry inventory with it. I'd made up my mind that the hand which had taken Miss Rachel's jewel could by no possibility be any other hand than yours. You had left one of your rings upstairs, and when I brought it to you, you looked up at me so coldly. And I had got the dress that was the only proof against you. I'm afraid to tell you how I felt then. You would hate my memory forever afterwards.
Do you see your way out of this dreadful mess yet?
I see my way back to London to consult Mr. Bruff. But if he can't help me and the sergeant won't leave his retirement, then, Betteridge, I am at the end of my resources.
Oh.
I don't know of a living creature who can be of the slightest use to me.
Oh, come in, whoever you are.
The door opened, and there entered to us the most remarkable-looking man that I had ever seen. His complexion was of a swarthy darkness. His fleshless cheeks had fallen into deep hollows, and over the top of his head his hair was of the deep black which was its natural colour, while round the sides of his head it had turned completely white.
I beg your pardon. I had no idea that Mr. Betteridge was engaged. I have the list for next week.
Oh, why?
Good day, sir.
Good day.
Who was that?
That's Dr. Candy's assistant. The doctor never recovered from that illness he caught on the night of Miss Rachel's birthday, and now the work all falls to his assistant. Not much of it now, except among the poor.
You don't seem to like him, Betteridge.
Oh, nobody likes him, sir.
But why is he so unpopular?
Well, his appearance is agin him to begin with. There's a story that Mr. Candy took him with a very doubtful character. Nobody knows who he is, and he hasn't a friend in the place.
May I ask what's on that piece of paper?
Oh, it's only the weekly list of the sick people hereabout. But my lady always had a regular distribution of good sound port and sherry among the infirm poor, and Miss Rachel wishes the custom to be kept up.
What is the man's name?
Yeah, as ugly a name as need be. Ezra Jennings. Now, sir, if you take my advice, you'll keep the letter in the cover until these present anxieties have come to an end. It will sorely distress you whenever you read it.
Upon my return to London, I went immediately to Mr. Bruff's residence at Hampstead. He examined the nightgown, then devoted himself to the reading of Rosanna Spearman's letter.
This is a very serious matter in more respects than one. Rachel's extraordinary conduct is no mystery now. She believes you have stolen the diamond, and she must be persuaded to tell us on what grounds she bases that belief.
But how?
The mark of your name proves the nightgown to be yours, and the mark of the paint proves the nightgown made the smear on Rachel's door. But what evidence is there to prove that you were the person who wore it on the night when the diamond was lost?
Now, that point had occurred to me also.
As to Rosanna Spearman's confessions, without alluding to the woman's career as a thief, I will merely remark that her letter proves her to have been an adept at deception. And I argue from that I am justified in suspecting her of not having told the whole truth. I distinctly assert that it was in her character to have stolen the diamond. What do you say to that?
But suppose it turns out that I did wear the nightgown.
Let us wait and see whether Rachel hasn't suspected you on the evidence of the nightgown only.
When is she next to visit your house, Mr. Brough?
The day after tomorrow, for lunch with my wife and daughters.
Might you be able to prevail upon them to leave a short portion of time during which I might speak to Rachel?
I'm sure they would do as I ask, provided I furnish them with reason enough. If you come in by the back way, Rachel will be in the conservatory. But be careful, sir, not to cause that young lady any needless distress.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Brough. I will. Rachel.
You coward! You mean, miserable, heartless coward!
I remember the time, Rachel, when you could have told me that I'd offended you in a worthier way than that.
Perhaps I have some excuse after what you have done. Is it a manly action on your part to find your way to me as you have found it today?
If my honour was not in your hands, I would leave you this instant and never see you again.
I have kept your infamy a secret, and I have suffered the consequences of concealing it. You were once a gentleman. You were once dear to my mother, and dearer still to me.
I have come here with something serious to say to you. Will you hear me? Did Rosanna Spearman show you the nightgown, yes or no?
Are you mad? They say your father's death has made you a rich man. Have you come here to compensate me for the loss of my diamond? Or is there a motive of shame at the bottom of all the
You
falsehood?
have done me an infamous wrong. You suspect me of stealing your diamond. I have a right to know the reason why.
Suspect you? You villain, I saw you take the diamond with my own eyes.
Rachel, I can only speak the truth as you have spoken it. You saw me with your own eyes. You saw me take the diamond. Before God who hears us, I declare, I now know I took it for the first time. Do you doubt me still? Rachel, tell me everything you saw that night.
Why go back to it?
Because we are the victim of some monstrous delusion which has worn the mask of truth. Tell me what you saw.
I had gone to blow out the candle in the outer room, where the diamond was. And as I did so, the door opened, and I saw you in your nightgown, with a candle in your hand.
And what did I do?
You went straight to the Indian cabinet, opened the drawer containing the diamond, put in your hand, and took the diamond out. Then you stood quite still, as if thinking, until you roused yourself on a sudden and went straight out of the room.
And did nothing happen from that time to the time when the whole house knew the diamond was lost?
Nothing. I never slept that night. I never went back to my bed. And now I'll tell you what I should have told you then. My heart's darling, you are a thief. You have crept into my room under the cover of night and stolen my diamond. You villain! I would have lost 50 diamonds rather than see your face lying to me as you have since that night. Why did you come here? Are you afraid I shall expose you? I can't expose you. I can't tear you out of my heart even now.
You shall know that you have wronged me yet. Or you shall never see me again.
Franklin! I forgive you! Oh, Franklin!
That evening, I was surprised at my lodgings by a visit from Mr. Bruff. Please take a seat, Mr. Bruff.
Thank you. I've just returned Rachel to her guardian aunt, Miss Merridew, at Portland Place. I can hardly hold you responsible for the shock this unlucky interview has inflicted on her.
No.
May I depend on your making no second attempt to see her?
You may rely on me.
Then that's settled. Now, about the future.
Well, I confess I have no idea where to turn next.
Hear me, then.
Here.
What do we believe was done with the Moonstone when it was taken to London?
It was pledged to Mr. Luca.
And we know that you are not the person who pledged it. Do we know who did? No. And where do we believe the Moonstone to be now?
In the keeping of Mr. Luca's bankers.
Exactly. Now, observe. We are already in the month of June. Towards the end of the month, a year will have elapsed from the time when we believe the jewel to have been pledged. By the terms of his agreement, Mr. Luca has to remove the diamond from the bank and give it to the person who pledged it. So am I free to try on my side what can be done by keeping a lookout at the bank?
Certainly. Next day, I took the train to Yorkshire to call on the doctor, Mr. Candy, who I'd been informed in a letter from Gabriel Betteridge urgently wished to speak to me. But my visit was of no immediate assistance. Poor Mr. Candy's mind was irreparably damaged by his fever, and though he well remembered sending word that he wanted to speak to me, he had no recollection of what he wanted to speak about. As I left, I came face to face again with the apparition that was Ezra Jennings.
I'm afraid, sir, you find Mr. Candy sadly changed.
Regrettably so. Are you walking my way, Mr. Jennings? I'm going to call on my aunt, Mrs. Ablewhite.
I have a patient to see, and am indeed walking part of that way.
Oh, excellent. Mr. Candy's illness must have been far more serious than I'd supposed.
It is almost a miracle that he lived through it.
Is his memory never any better than I have found it today?
Of something which happened before he was taken ill?
Yes.
It may be possible to trace Mr. Candy's lost recollection without the necessity of appealing to Mr. Candy himself.
How?
I have had the presumption to occupy my leisure for some years past in writing a book addressed to the members of my profession, a book on the intricate subject of the brain and the nervous system. It has often occurred to me to doubt whether we can justifiably infer, in cases of delirium, that the loss of the faculty of speaking connectedly implies of necessity the loss of the faculty of thinking connectedly as well. Poor Mr. Candy's illness gave me an opportunity of putting this doubt to the test. I understand the art of writing in shorthand, and I was able to take down the patient's wanderings exactly as they fell from his lips. Do you see what I am coming to?
Did my name occur in any of this?
For nearly the whole of one night, Mr. Candy's mind was occupied with something between himself and you. The product is an intelligible statement. First, of something actually done in the past, and secondly, of something which Mr. Candy contemplated doing in the future.
Well, let us go back directly and look at the papers.
Mr. Blake, is it too much to ask if I request you only to hint to me what your interest is in the lost recollection?
Well, may we simply say that it has to do with the loss of the Moonstone?
Then I am sorry to have raised your expectations, Mr. Blake.
Not one word about the diamond escaped Mr. Candy's lips throughout his illness.
No, but it is at the bottom of it, Mr. Jennings. I will be short with you so that you may understand my agitation. I am accused by a witness of having taken the diamond. And yet I know I did not. At least I have no recollection of doing so. And I am thus degraded in the eyes of the one person whose estimation I most value in the world.
Do you mind resting a little, Mr. Blake?
No, of course not.
Thank you. I am not what I was. A horrible accusation has rested on me for years. I am a man whose life is a wreck and whose character is gone.
So the accusation has died out?
No, it's as active as ever, but when it follows me here, it will come too late.
You'll have left this place?
No, Mr. Blake. I shall be dead. For 10 years, I have suffered from an incurable internal complaint. I have resisted the disease only by such palliative measures as I could devise. The one effective palliative in my case is opium. To that potent and all-merciful drug I am indebted for a respite of many years from my sentence of death. But I am feeling the penalty at last. My nervous system is shattered. My nights are nights of horror. Mr. Blake, have you ever been accustomed to the use of opium?
No, I've never tasted it in my life.
Were your nerves out of order at this time last year? Were you unusually restless and irritable? Did you sleep badly?
Wretchedly. Many nights I never slept at all.
Was the birthday night an exception? Did you sleep well on that occasion?
I do remember I slept soundly.
Now, can you assign any cause for the nervous suffering and your want of sleep?
Oh, yes. To my leaving off smoking.
Have you been an habitual smoker?
Yes, since my youth.
Did you leave off the habit suddenly?
Yes.
Your sleepless nights are accounted for to my mind. Now, did you enter into anything like a dispute with the doctor at the birthday dinner on the subject of his profession?
Well, I did attack the art of medicine with sufficient rashness to put even Mr. Candy out of temper for the moment.
One thing more. Had you any reason for feeling any special anxiety about the diamond at this time last year?
Yes. I knew it to be the object of a conspiracy, and I was warned to take measures for Miss Verinder's protection as the possessor of the stone.
Mr. Blake, if you read those notes now, you will make 2 astounding discoveries concerning yourself. You will find first that in all probability you entered Miss Verinder's sitting room and took the diamond in a state of trance produced by opium. Secondly, that the opium was given to you by Mr. Candy, without your knowledge, as a practical refutation of the opinions which you had expressed to him at the birthday dinner regarding the efficacy of medicine in a case such as yours. You were rather blunt with him, I believe.
To my shame, sir, yeah, I was.
You will see also from my notes that, but for his illness, he would have returned the following morning and acknowledged the trick that he had played on you.
And the truth, which has laid hidden for a year, would have been discovered in a day.
That was his intention. Now, I have something very bold and very startling to propose to you. We must put our conviction to the proof.
But how?
You shall steal the diamond unconsciously for the second time, in the presence of witnesses whose testimony is beyond dispute. You have resumed the habit of smoking, I see.
Yes, for almost a year since.
And will you give up the habit again, suddenly, mind, as you gave it up before?
Ah, I see your drift. I will give it up from this moment.
And if we can occupy your mind again with worries concerning the diamond, we shall have replaced you, as nearly as possible, in the same mental state in which the opium found you last year. In that case, it is possible that a repetition of the dose will lead to a repetition of the result.
Yes.
There is my proposal.
And I embrace it willingly, sir.
Then I shall write to Miss Verinder, if you will give me leave.
Yes.
And ask her permission to put my proposal into practice. Will she agree, do you think?
Oh, I'm certain of it. And I am truly grateful to you, Mr. Jennings.
If I can do you this little service, Mr. Blake, I shall feel it like a last gleam of sunshine falling on the evening of a long and clouded day. Miss Verinder willingly assented to my experiment being performed at the house, and expressed her keenest desire to be present at that time. On the day of the experiment, she arrived from London, accompanied by her solicitor, Mr. Bruff.
Are you Jennings?
I am, sir. Is Miss Verinder with you?
She is in the library.
She has probably told you that I wish her presence in the house to be kept a secret from Mr. Blake until my experiment on him has been tried first.
I know that I am to hold my tongue, sir. Being habitually silent on the subject of human folly, I am all the readier to keep my lips closed on this occasion. Does that satisfy you?
Yes, thank you, sir.
Very well.
Is that Mr. Jennings? Oh, I can't treat you like a stranger, Mr. Jennings. Oh, if you only knew how happy your letters have made me.
I am most gratified, my lady.
Where is he now? Has he spoken of me? I am so excited. I have 10,000 things to say, and they all crowd together. Do you wonder at the interest I take in this?
No, I venture to think that I thoroughly understand it.
You have relieved me of indescribable wretchedness and given me a new life. I love him. I have loved him from first to last. When tomorrow comes, and he knows that I'm in the house...
When tomorrow comes, I think you have only to tell him what you have just told me.
I beg your pardon, miss. Mr. Franklin's very agitated and wishes to know where Mr. Jennings is.
Will you excuse me? I should go to him.
Do, sir.
I found Mr. Franklin restlessly pacing his room and a little irritated at being left by himself.
Mr. Jennings, what happens now?
You must concentrate on your fears concerning the Moonstone 1 year ago, for they were uppermost in your troubled mind that night, I believe.
Oh, most certainly they were, sir. Rachel had strongly declined the locking up of the jewel in a safe place, and with the Indians skulking about the house, I was convinced they would try any means to steal it.
Yes.
And they would have undoubtedly used violence to achieve their end, which meant Rachel might be in mortal danger, and the dread of that possibility was all I could think of.
As it must be tonight. I sat with Mr. Franklin until it was time to prepare for the experiment, then slipped out of the room as he lay distracted, just as I wanted. I found Miss Verinder, Mr. Bettridge, who had taken charge of the medicine chest containing the laudanum, and Mr. Bruff, who affected an air of complete indifference to the enterprise, in the young lady's bed-sitting-room.
Mr. Jennings, how is he?
As near as possible to the way he was 1 year ago, on the night of your birthday dinner.
Mr. Jennings, I have the medicine chest here as requested.
Thank you, Mr. Bettridge. And now it is time to prepare the laudanum. Mr. Bruff, would you care to observe?
I suppose so.
I would trouble you to see me administer the dose, Mr. Bettridge, also.
Anything else?
Only that I must put you to the inconvenience of remaining with me in Mr. Blake's room, and of waiting to see what happens. Mr. Bettridge, the laudanum, if you please.
Yes, sir.
Are you sure it will do Mr. Franklin no harm?
Quite sure.
And how long will it be before anything happens?
An hour, perhaps.
I suppose the room must be dark, as it was last year?
Certainly.
I shall wait in my bedroom, in the dark, and keep the door a little way open, as it was last year.
And you must have this, too. A crystal to represent the diamond. You must put it where you put the Moonstone last year.
It was here, in my Indian cabinet.
And now we measure the dose. There. My lady, if you would retire to your bedroom and extinguish the candle, Mr. Bruff, Mr. Bettridge, and I will administer the dose to Mr. Franklin. Gentlemen?
Right, sir.
time?
Yes, I have the laudanum here.
Let me have it.
What happens now?
We wait.
How much longer do you think, Mr. Jennings, before there's some reaction?
It has already begun. See how agitated he is.
Huh?
The Indians are...
What's he saying?
It's not locked. The door of the cabinet.
He's concerned about the diamond.
The door is... I can't lock it. Anybody could take it.
Follow him.
The diamond safe. The diamond safe.
He's going into her room.
Just that locked.
He's going for it. He's going for the diamond.
And perhaps now we shall see what happened next.
He's dropped it. Pick it up, Mr. Franklin, sir. Pick it up. What's he doing now? Why is he lying on the sofa?
Miss Verinder, you can come in now. It's all over. Oh. The sedative influence of the laudanum has overtaken the stimulant phase. The experiment is ended.
Is he all right? He doesn't look well. He's so pale.
He's fine. He'll sleep now.
Do you mean to watch him while he sleeps?
Yes. We have proved that Mr. Blake entered this room and took the diamond last year. Agreed, Mr. Bruff?
Agreed.
And I had hoped to discover what he did with the diamond after he left this room. He has failed to do that. So we have cause to lament a failure as well as to rejoice over a success.
But we do know he took the diamond while under the influence of opium.
Most certainly.
Oh, and how I have wronged him.
I beg your pardon, Mr. Jennings, for having doubted you. You have done Franklin Blake an inestimable service. In our legal phrase, you have proved your case.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Jennings, let me watch him with you. I can't sleep. I can't even sit still. Oh, say yes, do.
Of course, my lady.
I must say, I'm amazed.
I would not have believed it had I not seen it with my own eyes.
Perhaps a drop of grog to steady our nerves, sir.
Excellent betterage. Good night to you both.
Good night, Mr. Bruff.
Oh, Franklin, can you ever forgive me?
One thing I know for sure, my lady. He can and he will. He loves you and wishes nothing more than for you to return his love.
I do, sir. Most ardently.
I cannot believe all I said and did under the influence of the opium.
It is a most powerful drug, sir, as I well know.
Yes. Well, thank you again, Mr. Jennings. You've given me back my life. And now we return to London to find the final piece of the puzzle.
What became of the Moonstone?
Exactly. I wish you well, Mr. Jennings. Rachel.
Thank you, Mr. Jennings. And goodbye.
Thank you most heartily, sir.
Goodbye. And with that, my brief dream of happiness was over. I had awakened again to the realities of my friendless and lonely life. Back again tonight to the dreadful alternative between the opium and the pain. But God be praised for his mercy. I have seen a little sunshine. I have had a happy time.
Where's my lad? He should be here.
Take my hand, Rachel.
Thank you, Franklin.
Sir, Mr. Bruff, sir.
Ah, here he is. Miss Verinder, Mr. Blake, allow me to introduce you to Gooseberry.
Gooseberry?
Aye, it's on account of the extraordinary prominence of his eyes.
Good day to you, Master Gooseberry.
What news of Mr. Luca, boy?
He's left his house accompanied by 2 plainclothes coppers.
As I expected, he may be about to take the diamond out of the bank. Gooseberry, fetch us a cab.
Yes, sir.
See here, Mr. Blake. This is my man who has followed Mr. Luca here to the bank. What news?
The gentleman is still in the vault, sir.
Let us wait, then.
No sign of the Indians.
They must have their spy somewhere.
Yes.
You see that tall man there? Looks like a sailor. Could that be him?
Sir, here he comes.
Keep your eye on him. If he passes the diamond to anybody, he will pass it here.
Mr. Luca slowly made his way to the door, now in the thickest, now in the thinnest part of the crowd. I distinctly saw his hand move as he passed a short man in a suit of sober grey. The man started a little and looked after him. At the door, Mr. Luca's guards placed themselves on either side of him. They were followed by one of Mr. Bruff's men, and I saw them no more. Could the man in the grey suit have it, do you think, Mr. Bruff?
I don't know, sir. There's such a crowd. And where has my man got to? And where is Gooseberry? Both left us at the time when we want them most. Oh, there's nothing else for it but to go to my office and await news.
The news was not good. Mr. Luca had gone home and dismissed his guard, and there was no sign of the Indians or any other person loitering about the premises. He had passed the diamond on unnoticed. Before going home, I called at Rachel's house and spent a happy hour in her company. On returning home, I discovered that Gooseberry had called for me and waited, but had to leave for his night's rest. Accordingly, I was expecting him the next morning.
Come in.
Thank you, sir.
Sergeant Cuff.
Good morning, Mr. Blake.
Morning.
I only got back from Ireland last night and read your letter telling me what has happened. There's only one thing to be said, sir. I completely mistook my case. I don't blame myself, but the fact is that I made a mess of it.
Well, then you've come in the nick of time to recover your reputation.
Take this envelope, sir. I suspected the wrong person last year, and I may be suspecting the wrong person now. Open the envelope when you've got at the truth, and then compare the name of the guilty person with the name that I've written in that sealed letter.
Thank you. Come in.
It's me, sir. Gooseberry.
Ah, good lad. Now, you may speak before this gentleman. He is Sergeant Cuff, and he has come to assist me. Sergeant, this is the boy from Mr. Bruff's office.
Come here, my lad, and let's see what you've got to tell us.
So, where did you get to at the bank?
If you please, sir, I was following a tall man with a black beard, dressed like a sailor.
Yes, I remember that man.
And why did you follow the sailor?
I saw Mr. Luca pass something to him.
Right.
And the sailor went out in such a hurry that I followed him without telling anybody.
Good boy. And what did you see?
Well, sir, first he went to Tower Wharf, where he spoke to the steward of the Rotterdam boat, which was to sail next morning. Then he went to an eating house, but along the way I noticed a man dressed like a mechanic, keeping the sailor in view and following him. I waited outside the eating house, and a cab came and stopped by the mechanic.
Yeah.
A man inside leaned forward to speak to him. He had a dark face, like the face of an Indian.
Excellent, lad. What happened next?
The sailor left the eating house and walked, shadowed by the mechanic and me shadowing them both, to a public house in Lower Thames Street, the Wheel of Fortune. I went in and heard him ask for a room for the night. He was given room number 10.
And where was the mechanic?
At the bar, sir, taking in every word. The sailor went upstairs, and I came here to tell you. But you were out.
Oh, damn. We've lost time, and it's my fault. What next, Sergeant?
A cab, sir, to Lower Thames Street.
Yes.
Not a moment to lose.
If you won't open up, I'll take this door off!
Sir?
Is the landlord about?
He's upstairs, and he's not to be bothered by anyone.
Come along with me, Mr. Blake. You two, Gooseberry, room 10, you say?
Yes, sir.
Sir? There are strangers here! Intruders!
do you want?
What's the matter here?
What business is it of yours?
Keep your temper, sir. I'm Sergeant Cuff.
Begging your pardon, sir, we've been unable to rouse the gentleman, and the door's been barricaded from the inside, so I'm taking it off his hinges!
Let's inspect the scene.
Blimey, is he dead?
Stay away, boy. This isn't for your eyes.
Oh, there's a pillow over his face. What does that mean? Is he in a fit or...?
He's dead. Send for the nearest doctor and send for the police.
What a business.
What's this? A small wooden box, empty, and there's a letter. Deposited with Messrs. Bush, Lysall and Bush by Mr. Septimus Luca, a small wooden box sealed up in this envelope and containing a valuable of great price. The box to be only given up on the personal application of Mr. Luca.
So the sailor had the Moonstone?
Mr. Blake, look at the man's face. Yeah. There's a face disguised.
He's pulling off his wig.
Hush, boy. Mr. Blake, open the sealed letter and read the name that I've written inside.
Godfrey Ablewhite.
Now look at the man on the bed.
It is him. My cousin Godfrey Ablewhite.
The marriage of Miss Rachel and Mr. Franklin Blake took place at our house in Yorkshire on Tuesday, October the 9th, and I had a new suit of clothes for the occasion. One of our guests was Sergeant Cuff, and on the Monday evening before the wedding he gathered Miss Rachel, Mr. Franklin, Mr. Bruff and myself in the library to give us the final results of his investigation into the disappearance of the cursed Moonstone. Mr. Ezra Jennings would have been there too, except that on the 26th of the previous month he had finally expired of his illness, at sunrise, in the arms of Mr. Candy. Our sadness at the news was only tempered by the knowledge that the long trouble of his life was finally at an end.
My lady, gentlemen, please be seated. I shall bring you up to date with our latest discoveries, and I fervently hope resolve the mystery of the disappearance of the Moonstone.
Amen to that.
We are very grateful, Sergeant, for your perseverance in this matter.
Oh, yeah. Why, it's the only honourable course left to me after my early mistakes.
Let's hear it then, Sergeant.
Very well. As to your cousin's death, then, first, he was killed by being smothered with a pillow. The guilty persons were the 3 Indians who gained entrance to his room by the trapdoor in the ceiling. Their object was to obtain possession of the diamond. They left London the next day on the steamer bound for Rotterdam.
Well, have they been apprehended?
By no means, sir. They disappeared back into their country of origin, lost for all time to European justice. Now, with regard to Mr. Godfrey Ablewhite, it seems his life had 2 sides to it. Mm-hmm. The world knows of his charitable labours. The side kept hidden exhibited this same gentleman in the different character of a man of pleasure, with a villa in the suburbs and with a lady in the villa.
Whoever would have believed it, eh?
Indeed, my old friend. Mr. Godfrey had, years before, been appointed one of 2 trustees for a young gentleman and entrusted with the care of a sum of £20,000. This sum had been stolen and spent by Mr. Godfrey by the simple expedient of forging the signature of the other trustee. The young gentleman was due to receive his £20,000 in February 1850. Failing to raise this sum, Mr. Godfrey was a ruined man. What happened next is that luck presented him with the opportunity of saving himself and his reputation. The plying of Mr. Franklin's brandy and soda with laudanum at Dr. Candy's instigation, leading to the loss of the diamond.
Oh, if only I'd never suggested that brandy and soda.
You have nothing to reproach yourself for, Gabriel.
Well, of course you don't. Now, the story is cleared up by the testimony of Mr. Luca, the moneylender, when I interviewed him at some length. I first asked him how he came into contact with Mr. Godfrey.
He turned up at my home, sir, and produced the diamond. He wanted to know if I would buy it. If that was not possible, would I undertake to sell it on commission and pay a sum down on the anticipated result? I asked him how he'd come by the diamond, and he spun me an unbelievable yarn. I asked him again, and he tried the same tack. So I bid him good day, and upon this compulsion, he came out with a new and amended version of the affair.
Which was what?
Having slipped the laudanum into the other gentleman's brandy, he went to his room. Later, he heard this gentleman talking to himself, and checking to see what the matter was, he saw him steal the diamond as if in a trance. Still drowsy, the gentleman showed Mr. Ablewhite the diamond and entreated him to return it to the bank, where it would be safe. He then fell into a deep sleep, and Mr. Ablewhite, amazed at his good fortune, took the diamond to his room to wait and see what happened in the morning.
And we know the answer to that. Who would possibly suspect a gentleman of Mr. Godfrey Ablewhite's standing of being involved? So, what term did you offer?
I consented to lend him the sum of £2,000, on condition that the Moonstone would be deposited with me as a pledge.
And he consented?
Not at first, but he soon realised that he had no other option. So I dropped the necessary documents on the spot.
And there you have it. The answer to how the diamond came to be in Mr. Godfrey's possession, then in Mr. Luca's, then with fatal consequences into Mr. Godfrey's again. It was neck or nothing with him, if ever it was neck or nothing with a man yet.
Poor Godfrey.
Poor Godfrey? Well, he almost destroyed my reputation and our love for each other.
Well, that's Miss Rachel's sweet nature for you, sir. She'll see the good in anyone, just like her mother.
Well said, Mr. Betteridge.
Indeed. And it is that sweet nature that I so dearly love. I'm sorry. Forgive me, Rachel.
You've no need to ask my forgiveness, Franklin. Not now, not ever.
My final duty is to reveal the contents of a letter I received from the esteemed traveller, Mr. Murthwaite, which casts some light on the fate of the Moonstone.
About a fortnight since, I found myself in a certain province called Katior, and I resolved, before leaving, to look once more on the magnificent desolation of the sacred city of Somnath. On my walk there, I discovered I was not alone, by a factor of thousands, and I learned that the multitude was on its way to a great religious ceremony in honour of the god of the moon, to be held at night. When we arrived at the place, we found the shrine hidden from our view by a curtain hung between two magnificent trees. Then a new strain of music, loud and jubilant, rose from the hidden shrine, and the crowd around me shuddered and pressed together. The curtain between the trees was drawn aside, and the shrine was disclosed to view. There, raised high on a throne, soared above us, dark and mystic in the light of heaven, the god of the moon. And there, in the forehead of the deity, gleamed the yellow diamond, whose splendour had last shone on me in England from the bosom of a woman's dress. Yes, after the lapse of 8 centuries, the Moonstone looks forth once more over the walls of the sacred city in which its story first began. You have lost sight of it in England, and if I know anything of this people, you have lost sight of it forever.
In episode 4 of The Moonstone by Wilkie Collins, Franklin Blake was played by Paul Rhys, Sergeant Cuff by Kenneth Cranham, Rachel Verinder by Jasmine Hyde, Mr. Bruff by Bill Patterson, and Betteridge by Steve Hodson. Ezra Jennings was played by Peter Marinka, Mr. Murthwaite by Paul Bhattacharjee, Mr. Luca by Stephen Critchlow, Rosanna Spearman by Alison Pettit, Lucie by Rachel Atkins, and Gooseberry by Harrison Webb. The Moonstone was recorded on location by Lucinda Mason-Brown, with original music by David Chilton. It was dramatised by Doug Lucie and produced by Janet Whittaker. The Moonstone was a Goldhawk Essential production for BBC Radio 4.